All right, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Health meeting for the town of Southbridge. It's September 12th, 2024, 6 p.m. Relative to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, and for the benefit of the public, this meeting is being recorded by both video and audio methods. Roll call, please.
Gil Provost.
Present.
Roland LaRochelle.
Present.
Kevin Splain.
Present.
Jasmine Canones.
Excuse.
Gus Steves.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, Agenda 3A, consider and accept meeting minutes from July 11, 2024.
Second.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
None.
We're all good?
Good.
All in favor? Unanimous of those present. 3B, consider and accept minutes from August 8th.
Second.
Any questions? Concerns? All in favor? Unanimous of those present. Done. Okay, citizens forum, if there's any citizens that want to bring up anything not on the agenda. Going once? Twice? Okay. 5, presentations, we have none tonight. 6, review and discuss the board's membership in the Tobacco Alliance and take any action. You all got a letter in your packet from Mr. Dow. That's this one? Yeah. Did you ever get that return phone call? Okay. Now, does any of the board members have any comments to make before I go? I will yield.
Have a motion after.
All right. There has been a lot of talk about this. Anybody who has reviewed or was present at the last meeting when we had the 3 appeals, we chastised the Tobacco Alliance. But that being said, what was it, last week we met?
Yes.
Week before? I sent the information out for Triple E, and Dan asked to get together to do a plan, and we discussed this Tobacco Alliance. The Tobacco Alliance is a free service, but they enforce the state law. There are no regulations set forth by the Southbridge Board of Health related to tobacco. They provide the training, they provide the education, they provide the inspections. There's a lot of things that they do that we are not fond of, and we made it perfectly clear. When a retailer wants to appeal, they come to us. We had 3 appeals, 1 no-show, both people that appealed. We voted unanimously to find them not responsible. We cannot, by law, reduce the fine, but we can find them not responsible because their paperwork, as far as dates and everything, was horrendous and unfair. Now, that being said, Dan and I sat and we talked for quite a while about this. And his office has a lot of items, missions,
Missions are good.
okay? We don't know what's coming up. We don't know if the Triple E is going to be at bay. We got flu season coming up. We got the homeless. We got complaints. We got everything coming up. And I asked them right out, because if we give up this alliance, the town of Southbridge, Dan's office will be required to do it. Make sure the law is being followed. That being said, the state can still come in and spot check. It's state laws. The difference is we don't have a damn thing to say about it if they find something at fault. If a person gets fined, the fine no longer comes to the town of Southbridge, it goes to the state. If the state finds that the Southbridge inspectors did not do their due diligence, they can set that fine to the town. So we have more control right now, and I asked Dan right out, with everything coming on, does his office have the bandwidth to take this on? And he told me no. So I didn't like their paperwork, their dates. We've got the list from 2022 of all the board has to approve them to act as agents for the board. We got the list from 2022 because we have to approve it, and I did look back in the paperwork when we had the appeals, and everybody that had something to do with those inspections are on the list. So they've been approved as inspectors through the board. We do have some leeway to keep these people, we have a lot of leeway to keep these people that work for us, working for us the way we want it done. So, right now, until we find other reasons, I personally don't see any change. Or any reason right now. I think it's going to be more cumbersome for the office than it is helpful. Anybody else anybody from the board have anything?
Yeah, I have a question. I guess through you to Dan. Are there any other alternatives to using the Control Alliance?
Well, the main alternative is using the
Other than
Department of
other
Health.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean,
Right.
are there other agencies that do this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any
Not
either, so.
for benefit. But, I mean, just recognize that the sentiment really illustrates the flawed execution of the tobacco inspection process. And that sentiment was derived from the board members here directly over the course of a number of meetings.
Yeah, I know.
So what I can relate to you is at this point, we don't have the capacity to take that extra challenge on and that duty fully and execute it as proficiently as they do.
Right.
But it can be done, and I have done this in the past. Just understand that the move by the Tobacco Control Alliance will be very partial in respect that we maintain their services. Discussions with Joan, she did identify in her experience working with 30 towns that not one town has initiated the move of eliminating their connection with that, their relationship. So now I understand the legalities and all the discussions where it came from. What I can share with the board is my experience working as a director for another municipality, which I initiated this type of measure. And nothing came out of it that was consequential or difficult to handle. From that aspect of the state coming in, which the chair said, anything that those measures that we had to confront. I just want to share that with you right there, to be transparent.
So how, if we were going to do that, how would we go about doing the inspections necessary to make sure that they're followed?
Well, again, there is no set frequency of inspections.
No, I get that.
And it's very subjective what type of inspections. Now, I've heard the board indicate that the main premise of this and the main concern would be the sale of tobacco to underage individuals. What I also gather is that from the signage to other practices or other parameters that have to be fulfilled during the course of an inspection, that is really made and set forth by this Tobacco Control Alliance. There's nothing set in stone what type of inspection, what we have to do. There is not. I also want to add that we do have regulations restricting youth access to tobacco and nicotine service.
Yeah.
This is the local regulation. And that can take precedence, I believe, in my interpretation of the law. So the fact remains is whether the board and the town are happy with the services enforcement procedures of the control. Okay? In my true honest belief, I don't want to speak on your behalf, but it's pretty representative that you're not. And that are derived from the appeals processes we've had, the tobacco holders that have come in, business owners of the town that were not pleased with the inspectional process, the delivery of information, etc. With that said, to conclude, I just think, I agree with you, Chair, that we should keep this on the table, but right now, I certainly believe that there are flaws and deficiencies within the enforcement processes conducted by the Tobacco Control Alliance.
And we know that, and that's why we chastised them. And we also found out when we had the training session, when we had the two lawyers here from the Mass Health Board, one of them was one that drew up a lot of these laws. And Mr. Splain may be low to the ground, but he let her know it, that either what she wrote was flawed or what she wrote wasn't being followed. We gave them the order that they are not to come into this town without giving your office a 2-week notice. My opinion right now, or my thought right now, is to give them a chance to see if they can heed to our warning, because the other issue that I have is we have not been getting any information about what they do when they come into town. Zero. The only people that we got was the 3 people that came here to appeal their fines. We have no idea how many people they fined, because if they paid them, there's no report.
Right.
We weren't even getting emails, CC to the board.
Right.
And I rectified that. And that's why I have something that came in the other day from them on September 9th. And it was, I didn't see the other side, they didn't have the tree. But apparently, it has been requested that they pause their services.
Well, and until we came up with an exact decision as to how we want to move forward, not inspectional wise, but education packets. Okay? So what this stemmed from is the previous discussion which I had with Joan, particularly focused on new inspectors coming to the board to be approved.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. She didn't have any record. She
Oh.
just,
No, they can't put inspectors on
Right,
without
right,
us
right,
approving
right,
them to
right.
act on our behalf.
she didn't have any documentation until just a couple days ago. We couldn't find it. That's right. But this
She
was,
couldn't find them, because you have it.
we were looking for them. These happened for an appointment in 2022.
Right.
She was supposed to keep all this. She finally found it. The issue at hand was, do these new inspectors have to be appointed by the Board of Health?
Yes.
Some boards don't,
Yes,
she said.
they do.
Others do. So I wanted to make sure we do
Well-
the appointment before they even hit the field for education or inspection.
Yes. I think we
Yes,
have to.
yes.
Well, she has to go to school because by Chapter 111 Mass General Law,
Yeah.
appointed or elected, nobody can work in behalf of a Board of Health in the state of Massachusetts without being appointed by that board.
Right.
So, where she said some don't, maybe some don't elect to, but they are supposed to. So,
So with that said, there's new inspectors. Okay?
As
Some
opposed-
have-
As opposed to this.
that will be coming into Southbridge.
Okay.
And so we want to make sure that they are appointed first before
they
they hit the field.
they cannot hit the field without coming in front of this board.
So can we have them come to us like the next meeting?
Sure.
It's incumbent upon them to do their due diligence,
Yeah.
to approach the board to be put on the agenda
Yeah.
for their appointment, like they did in 2022.
Right.
Okay, and then we will do a clearinghouse on what happened with the 3 or 4 if they're still gonna be on it from
Yeah,
that last one,
Okay,
to clean, to tidy up things.
that makes sense.
Because nobody can come and do an inspection in this town without the authority by the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that. Do we have, what authority do we have to set, I guess maybe written policies saying this is how we want the laws to be enforced? Let me backtrack. I mean in terms of the information they send to us, because obviously they have to enforce the law. If they are our agents, they enforce the law. But for like timeframes for information that they send to us, so that we have it on hand, so we can read it in advance. Because
Well-
that was the underlying issues. We weren't getting stuff in a reasonable timeframe.
And that is all about policy. We can tell them exactly how we want it.
Yeah.
It's in law that they have, I believe, 5 days to appeal once they get served.
Yeah.
They
You mean the
didn't,
retailer does?
the retailer. They didn't even supply us with the paperwork to show when the person received the letter.
I know, that's been an issue.
And all these things is very simple. They don't do their job, we're gonna do ours.
Yeah.
And we're gonna vote not responsible. Done.
Yeah.
And my opinion is, if we have certain inspectors in a certain group that doesn't give us what we want, we don't have to make a policy. You're gonna come to a meeting, you're gonna come in front of us, and you should do your due diligence. If the law says, here's a time frame, you gotta show us.
Yeah.
And I don't care if the governor walks in the door over here and asks why we keep throwing it down. Because they're not doing the job the way we want it done. That's simple.
I'm just saying, I think it would be helpful for us if we have a clear list of this is how we do it, this is when we want these things, and if we don't. I mean, that'd be helpful for us, I think. But I completely agree with you, that was the issue we were seeing repeatedly.
The thing is
we weren't
that-
getting things in time frame that we needed to get them.
They're being empowered
Yeah, I know.
to work for us,
Yeah.
and they're supposed to follow the rules.
I know.
And we should not spend somebody's time in this town hall to come up with rules to tell them how to do their job.
No,
That's
but
my
we-
opinion.
But we need to know what the rules are too, so, that's what I'm saying. So we need to know what the rules are.
Bill, you got anything?
I do not.
Sure. Kevin?
I'm gonna yield for now, until everybody speaks,
George?
please.
The difficult part I had with this whole lines inspection process is the fact that they come into town, they don't tell you guys when they're coming, number one.
We took care of that.
Number two, when they do the inspections, you don't get an inspection report unless they have been fined and the appeal process comes to you,
That's incorrect.
okay?
That is totally
And I didn't just
incorrect.
hear that here?
The board, Dan's office is required, anybody who comes in and works under his day-to-day operation.
Right.
All the reports go to him. We have not had any reports come to us, except those that are appealed, because the appeal comes in front of the board, not in front of the health department.
And that's what I'm talking about. is that
So
process.
we have not seen, and this is why I told them, when they're gonna have stuff, you CC me and I'll make sure it gets to the board. Because we haven't been getting information on this.
And then the other part of the inspection process that I don't care for is when somebody comes in to do an inspection, they take carte blanche of the person's store. Just, we're gonna go in there, open that guy's cabinet. You're not gonna come do that in my house, and you shouldn't be allowed to do that in the business. At least those are the things that I've heard through small times that I've come to the meeting, is that it's almost like an abuse of power when they come into town to do an inspection, and then when you guys find out about it, you're doing an appeal, and you find out that the dates are all kind of messed up and those kind of things, and you do appropriate things and put not responsible. But it seems like they should come into town, work through what you guys decide is gonna be the policy of the town and the rules of the town, and enforce state law. But that's how I would take a board to work, not come in carte blanche and do what they wanna do, and then let them know what's going on. And I just,
And that has been our problem, and we told them, you don't come into this town without giving the office a 2-week notice. So when they've come into town before, nobody knew.
correct.
Now, that being said, that's the first I hear how their tactics were within an establishment, is what you said right now. And I wish that, all our contacts are published. I wish people would have come forward
Well, one guy,
and said, this is the problems that I had, so that when we had them here on camera, We could have put it right on their plate like we did the other stuff. And I'll tell you, you've known me for long enough, and I don't bend to politics and I don't bend to social media. If I knew they were coming into a store on next Wednesday, I might be going to that store to see what they're doing. Because taking it third and fourth gets you in trouble. So if I see it for myself, I'll be the first one to stand here and say, you're in suspension.
During one of the appeals, the gentleman, I'm not sure if it was down the street, talked about how this inspector came in and went in a box of product that wasn't going out to the floor. And he ended up, I believe, getting fined because those products were in the store and they were going back. And the inspector, that lady that was here that night, there was 3 of them, I think, here. No, they had them in the store, they shouldn't have been in the store, and that's why they get fined. So that part of the process, I think, is wrong.
Oh, it is wrong, and that's why we said the process of having given a retailer a list of banned items, and when she sat here and said, yeah, those things that were written up weren't on the list.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't.
So you own a store, and you got a kid that you're giving job after school, and you're gonna hand him a list and make sure this stuff isn't here and it's not on the list, and then you get whacked? No, that's wrong.
That's not
And
fair.
that's what we told her.
Yeah.
And that's why we said not responsible, because you're not gonna find somebody, you know? A cop's not gonna write you up for speeding if he doesn't have a radar gun. I'll go to court.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what they did. They came to court and we found them not responsible. So either you straighten up tobacco allowance and you conform to what we want, or you're not gonna come into town, because this is our town. Okay? And we have to be responsible to everybody in this town, and that includes the workers here. And that includes overloading his department with stuff that we can farm out and give a chance to either bend to our wishes or move out of town. Because we don't want him to get in trouble being overloaded and let other things, because we got a lot of stuff on the plate in this town going on. So, I mean, I agree with you, but now we did put that charge on him. 2-week notice to the office before you come into town. Number 1. Anything else?
No, that was good. You
Okay.
answered it.
Okay. Do you have something?
Yeah, after, I don't know, after Mr. Gus first, or you want me to speak, so up to you.
I just wanted to comment on, kind of following up on that, is that one of the things that I was concerned about, I brought this up at one of the hearings, is the fact that Joan will come in and present their case, but they don't bring the inspector who actually was on the scene.
Right, and they got chastised for that too.
That's a total violation of judicial process.
And I think,
That's total hearsay,
Kevin,
that's a problem.
I think Kevin used the term hearsay
I see.
as far as one of you
I see.
said hearsay. And that only solidified our reasoning to say, not responsible.
Well,
Have a nice day.
you can't do that. That's not fair to them. Or us.
Well, you know what? The question is how many places did they get away with doing that?
Probably us.
And this is not gonna be one of them.
I came across this, I don't know, would they be able to do the same kinds of things? The MHOA tobacco control program?
You know, there's a lot of other things out there,
Yep. I don't know, because I don't.
but they're not paid for by our taxes. It might cost the town.
It might be a membership thing, I don't know exactly.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It could be.
If he does it, it costs the town.
Yeah, I know.
If the Alliance does it, it doesn't cost the town. It might be our money like a grant,
Sure.
but the grant money's coming here.
On the flip side, we also pay for, get what we pay for.
But we're limited.
That could be an issue.
And we have to get what we can afford.
That's true, that's true.
Is that it?
At the moment.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for coming.
So, these people come to the stores. The company or there sent already an email saying the product after be removed from the shelf, you can't sell it. So you remove it from the shelf, you put it in the boxes, it's sealed by the salesman, you put it in the back office, you wait till the company to come the following week or whatever. They come in your stores, like Councilor Shinya said, they search like an FBI. They give you a citation on the first item. They see the second one, they leave it. They don't say nothing. They leave. Months later, they come back, they cite you on the second thing. They already was there. So it's kind of like okay, we're gonna give you one here to say we're doing our job, and then we wait next time you come, we're gonna give you one in here. They don't tell you when they come in, and those two items next to each other, they don't tell you they're too illegal or too, you know, it's in the back office, to explain to them, yeah, the company's coming, you know, it's gonna be picked up by the company where it's licensed and distributor in Massachusetts. The one send it to your store by mistake, by whatever. Now the store's owners is responsible for company's distributor delivery or that company you're using. They need to be educated before they come to our town. Look, all this mistake is here. How long is being gotten away with it? They're doing an illegal thing. They have no education. They're just running after grant. I understand the town doesn't pay, but I am paying. It's my tax payee. It's my everyone sitting in this room and in this country is paying the tax for them. So they're taking advantage because the federal money now. Okay, the town's not paying, but we're gonna pretend we're doing something. We have no education on what we're doing. We breaking every law, every town rule, just to take those money for their benefits and their need to pretend like they're doing their job. I think those, either if the town of Southbridge don't get that grant, I think some other thing we can get it for and more benefits the town and the residents. Not because we don't get that money, the state paying for them, we're gonna allow them. I think they're doing a legal thing, they have to be renewed. I think every year they're not coming here, they do whatever they want, they don't have to report you. They harm the business in town. And I think the local board should take over. That's my opinion, because that's why we have an employee, we have a board, we have a town hall, we have a manager, we have a board of health, we have everything. I think we need to control our own town. You bring people from other town to control you and they don't know what they're doing, I don't think it's fair either. I know where you come from, doesn't cost the town anything, but it is costing the town. The people pay tax and do business in this town. They're being harmed by these people not educated. How many tickets they give before they don't come before you and they be approved for that inspector to be doing their job? Plenty. Who's giving them fine for that? Are you giving them fine? You hold them responsible? What's their punishment for doing illegal thing against business people in this town? I agree with you on certain things, but I think they need to be removed and let the town do their job. That's my opinion. Thank you.
To reply to some of the things that you said, and we took it to task at our educational meeting with the lawyer. If you've got stuff in your back room, that is not for sale. It's what's out on a shelf. So if you have something, because we chastise them like hell, why does the supplier not share in this problem?
Right.
Well, you gotta take that up with the governor because that's not what the law says. So they deliver in Quinnebog and then they come deliver for you.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to watch what they're delivering. Mistakes happen. They're not supposed to go. They're supposed to go look and see what you have on the shelf. What you have in the back room in a sealed box is none of their concern, and that is not open to the public, and that was brought to the lawyers in the training thing, and they agreed. So we told them, you have to bring that back to Joe and tell her that her people better smarten up because the back room is technically private.
I would think they would get a warrant.
And they're not supposed to go search in the back room. And if they happen to see something through the door and they ask you, why is that here? Because it's going back. It's in a sealed box. It's not open. It's not available. And I agree with you, it should have been done. But nobody comes in town, and this is what we're trying to do, is get a hold of this. Because his office gets a report when they come into town on anybody they find. We don't. We only get the information when somebody appeals it because they have to appeal before us. And that's what we want to do, is to share the information, because we're supposed to be working together, and if he misses something, we can pick it up and straighten it out. And we just found a lot of this stuff out at our last meeting.
How are you gonna bring a company, they don't know what they're doing, to monitor their town? Are you comfortable with that? You have
I
to
don't
teach
know
them-
if-
Are you gonna teach them to do their job and getting paid for it? That's not fair either. They're taking the money like gift.
They're not taking anything.
They're taking money, they're getting paid to do that. They're not
Oh.
doing it because you're pretty or I'm
No,
pretty.
you're absolutely right.
They're taking the
And
money.
these people are supposed to be trained people.
But they're not training anybody. They come illegal to town, they're breaking every rule, every law, they punch every person illegal, and they're getting paid, and we let them stay. We shouldn't let them stay. Let them go educate somewhere else. Show me the education, learn what they do, and they come back, then we point them. Right now, I think we should remove them completely to learn. We're not gonna pay, they're gonna get paid till we teach them their job. That's not right.
And you know, this is one problem that I have, and I'm not faulting you. We always get this information after the fact. We had the tobacco company and Joan sitting right in that chair. We chastised her and her corporation with the information that we had. Then, several weeks later, we had the meeting for training, which was a public meeting with the lawyers. The dais was empty. We asked the lawyer. We brought this up. I think Kevin brought it up with the Alliance on what our rights are. She was amazed because she wrote some of the laws, so we told them, and they're not following your rules. What are you doing about it? This is where we wish we had this backup. Because at the 11th hour right now, I'm sorry, but I have a hard time with people coming in to say, Trody's fricking people out of town because I'm not happy. Where were we 2 weeks ago? That's my problem, because we need this ammunition and the facts when we have these people in front of us. I wasn't in your store, and I'm not calling you a liar. But like I said, if we knew that they were coming into town next Wednesday, I will tell you what, from everything I've heard, I'd be in your store walking around. And if you weren't there, one of your workers would have called the cops because they think I'd be friggin' ripping you off because I'd be hanging around. But I would be hanging around waiting for them so I could see for myself. In the following meeting, I would have that as agenda number 1, if I saw that.
I think it's wrong.
I just have a concern because I asked Dan. He told me right out he has concerns about having the bandwidth to comply with this. You always say we have a director. Yes, we do. He tells me he doesn't have the bandwidth. His office doesn't have the bandwidth to do this. What do you expect us to do? Pull people out of the sky? I don't
Call the
know.
council.
What?
Call the council on the issue.
Call what council on the issue? This is the board. This is the
Call the
board.
councilors. If you'd let me talk and you shut up for a minute, I'd give it to you. You're ridiculous as a chairman. Go ahead, keep renditioning the same thing you said 5 times.
You know what? If you're not going to respect my chairmanship, why should I respect yours?
Don't. Trust me, really confident.
Please, we live in the same town, we're family, please.
Well, we're supposed to be.
I've had my hand up for 20 minutes, and I'm listening to you talk for 2 hours. I didn't know it was a rolling show.
I'll remember that. Go ahead, Mr. Lazo.
I just want to say this, I have a question as far as this Tobacco Alliance. How long is their contract with us? Or their
Was it
agreement with the town?
2028?
No,
Where was it?
2000, the new one, they're asking for the Board of Health to vote on the new RFR, the acronym. I don't even know what that stands for. But they emphasize they have a wait list of 9 communities that want to join. What I can tell you is that could cease anytime. If the board says, we right now do not want you to come to town, we don't want to be involved in this alliance,
Yeah,
that can happen at any point. Okay? There's no specific thing. Whether they indicate that or not, that the terms of that agreement can be
is the agreement with the Board of Health? Or
the
with
Board of
town?
Health. The Board of Health.
Okay, so it doesn't come to council.
Does
No,
not.
because it's not a contract.
Okay, now, getting back to the alliance. I've sat here through this meeting with all due respect, and I've heard nothing but incompetency on behalf of the Alliance. I stand behind my Board of Health. Guys, I'm behind you 1,000%. If you think that they're incompetent, as you have stated, and you have called them out and chastised, and used a lot of verbiage and a lot of hot air, and it's just not working, you come to the council, your department, and say, we need a tobacco inspector. We are in the middle of a transition in our building and everything that we do, our landfill, not landfill, but our trash pickup. We're kind of in a reorganization, moving chess pieces all over the place. If there's a problem, I say call the council. Well, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the thing is, call me. If you're not happy with this alliance, but you need an answer, you need a cure to this problem, maybe you need a local inspector. Maybe we can tie it into that reorganization and reconfiguration. I'm not saying no to it, but I can't. I respect you for saying the taxpayer's gonna have to pay for it. But the thing is, as a resident, the services that we provide to protect our residents, you and I, concern more about Southbridge than that alliance, okay? So for me, I would fire that alliance, get a hold of the town manager, let's write our own position to do this, even if it's part-time. Mr. Chairman, you have the knowledge of how many tobacco outlets are there. You know, how would we approach this? We have a liquor agent, which was a new creation about 10 years ago. We're a liquor agent, then they spread it to 6 liquor agents. One at the meeting, and then they have other ones that are police officers. They go into bars and inspect for violations, over serving, sleeping on the bar, different stuff. I think maybe we should treat the tobacco a little bit like the alcohol part. Maybe we should have somebody locally. There's not a lot of work as far as, you know, you're gonna do, you know, like go-arounds. In other words, you do your annual, you buy quarterly, whatever you do. If you're a director and you get together and you feel that you've had enough of this, I want you to know we're behind you to straighten it out on the local level. I do agree with Joe Dow. They're not pro-business, and this council is pro-business. But going forward, I think I look at it as, you're telling me we can't take care of our own problem? We gotta call the state? We're talking about the state. We legalize marijuana, but you can't have a menthol cigarette. Where's the logic in this? You can't have a flavored paper, but you can go smoke marijuana. You might be at dispensaries everywhere. The state has it backwards. You know who's got it right? You, us. No one's coming to Southbridge on the way who wants to save us. We are the minds that are in control right now, that let's look at this holistically. Maybe we should take it over. You mentioned it. You mentioned taxes. I get it. But what's the value of what you're doing with the tobacco industry in Southbridge? Let us know if you need the help. I would fire these guys tonight if I was on the board. And if it was a council decision, it would be fired. Let's find our own solution and get our heads together. You people tell us what you need. That's the only thing I want to say. Thank you.
And the only reason I'm making my comments, we gave them the warning. Now we're going to see if they're going to act. They haven't had a chance to act yet. And I don't disagree with you with the state having things backwards. But our hands are tied with that, because way up there is where they make the rules that we're supposed to follow, whether we like it or not. And we can, this board can supersede state law by Mass General Law, Chapter 111. We can make regulations that supersede the law, but we can't make regulations that lighten it, no matter how many times we'd like to.
In response to that, I'm not talking about changing the law. I'm talking about enforcement.
Right.
Your enforcement right now is the saddest, not you, so your tobacco people are the saddest enforcement agency I've ever seen, number one. Number two, look what they're doing. That's all they do is hot air, more chastising. I'm gonna straighten them out. You can't straighten out incompetency. You fire it. We had a health director. We got rid of it because it was wrong. Things weren't good for Southbridge, things weren't working, and then all of a sudden we change it, and the sun comes up. When you got a cancer, you cut it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lazo. I admire the passion. And he's absolutely right. There is fundamentally a lack of trust in tobacco control. In all the years I've been in public health, people have been critical of the tobacco control movement. And again, many individuals like Mr. Lazo exhibit a lot of passion about it. But the fact remains the inspectional process is deficient and lacking the ability to conduct themselves appropriately. I would have to say when you and I talked, Chair, that your question revolved around the ability to conduct elections. I took in also the ability to have underage individuals go to these stores.
Right.
That I can say is something that most health departments are unable to do because of the lack of experience. So that does take a necessary skill set. With all of this moving on, I could adjust. We are resilient, and the health department, we would find a way. We would find a solution to this. Because as I mentioned, there is nothing set in stone. The frequency and the inspectional, regarding the inspectional process with this type of tobacco enforcement. Now, there are laws, but I can tell you, if we stick to the fundamentals, an appropriate inspection, the health department would be able to accommodate. Without that aspect of going into stores and doing checks with children for illegal sales to minors and underage.
So how would we go about doing that? 'Cause I don't think
That sometimes is an undertaking. Yes, there's a lot to it. That's where the Tobacco Control Alliance has many boards at their mercy. Because they are trained. They have those down.
Yeah.
And I have yet to meet a local health department, local board of health with the abilities to do that in-house. So we count on that. Because as the board members have emphasized, that's a big component of tobacco control. Am I right or wrong? I mean, it is to me as the director.
That's a lot more important.
Yeah, but that involves a lot more.
But if you as a board don't come to council, for instance, or to the manager and say, listen, we want to do this, but we don't have the manpower, you need to stress the importance of the manpower issue. And us as council, we find out about manpower, like for instance, coming to these meetings. We don't come to the meetings all the time. We come when there's like some issues. And because we just have so many meetings we can go to, like you guys. But if you have a manpower issue and you want to enforce these things on the people and want to do the inspections yourself, you don't get through to the manager. There's ways to get through to the council, and council be behind you to do this. I mean,
Mr. Chairman, it's a quick question, manpower. I'm talking about the skill set you're talking about, I'm trying to learn about this. Does a police officer have the skill set to go into a place and see a minor getting sold tobacco product?
Yeah.
So we have an
I would say
army
so.
we have an army of guys in blue. Why don't we holistically get our heads in the game here? We've got a great certified police department, got a good board of health, got a health director, and a council that supports all of the above. Why can't we get some sort of understanding that with the chief, that we could utilize
We
some
can.
of our skill set that we already have here?
We can get
Serving a
everything.
minor is a violation to police enforce. Tobacco should be enforced the same way, shouldn't
I
it?
agree with you. I think we can do anything if we put our heads together. Anything.
Okay.
maybe that's the route to try.
Yeah. And the basis of this meeting is to have input
Hold
and
this.
ideas.
Sit down with the police chief, see what he's willing to do, get the council behind you, and then maybe that's the route to go. As a liquor agent, you've got a cigarette agent, you know? And then you can work towards the goal of, if you need more manpower, then be able to plead your case wide. And I think with the police
Joe?
help you.
Thank you, Chair, to you. They use my niece, the police for the witness, the son is a different story, was my niece. One of
Shouldn't be saying that in camera.
That's 5 years ago, she's over 21 now. But the thing is, if the Board of Health Director don't have the man, and you believe is you need a little more time to set the manpower and study it more, I mean, it's not bad to leave it on the table for the next meeting, see what's come up, see if they're respond back to you, they might not come back to you. Like, you come back and say, you know what, they don't respect us, they don't give us no information, they're not coming back to us, I don't want them no more. At the same time, you guys discussed it, see how you're gonna get the manpower, how you're gonna set her up and as a plan, and then you can always say no to them. I'm not saying tonight, but it's important right now, with all these lack of experience and information, either you said it to stay, believe them, I don't believe them, because they've been doing it for a long time. They did it the same thing in the Sturbridge. The Sturbridge, they came to the stores, same thing, they handle citation, we went to the board meeting and they told them, why you here? We don't appoint you. We never, you have to come every year, I think, to be reappointed by the Board of Health.
No, I think it's for the length of the contract. But if those were new inspectors that weren't appointed by the board, you're absolutely right, they don't belong there.
Yeah, but regardless, what I understood at that time, they have that line, they have to come every year because that grant every year is issued. So every year they have to come here to be approved, to be able to get the grant. It's not like a long-term contract. Every year they have to come, get approved by you, then they can go get the grant. If you guys say no, no. So they're stressing it, 2022, now we're almost 25. You know, if nobody appealed the decision, you guys never catch up or learn about they're doing illegal thing in town. Thank you.
Well, you know, there's a lot of information that came out tonight that I wish we talked about. Because unfortunately, you had a 2 o'clock when I made the 1 o'clock appointment. And we talked about this, and you did say, you can't right now do smoking. Because you don't have the skill set within your office.
And that skill set.
And I told you, remember, as an ex-smoker, I will not waver on selling to a minor.
Right.
Okay?
That is the one.
I said that.
Yeah, we know.
And unfortunately, we did not have this discussion that we have tonight, because you did tell me that you didn't have the bandwidth. You didn't think you had the bandwidth to do it. Whether it was for all tobacco or whatever. So either if we did not have it for tobacco sales, until we had certified people within our own community, we had to rely on these people to comply with state law. Correct?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now.
I put it for discussion. I don't put it for decision. You know that. I told you that.
Well,
But at least
that's
a lot of things came to light. There's a lot of illegal things they're doing. They come in here, they do whatever they want, they go behind people's walls, they bring in inspectors not either appointed, they have to come every year to be reappointed by the Board of Health. It's a lot of things illegal there. How are you gonna fix somebody, you wanna discipline somebody doing wrong if you're wrong completely? How'd that work?
And when we don't get the information, we can't fix the problem either.
Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I came tonight, I said, I'm interested about the plastic bag stuff, and then I heard about the concerns over here with this item, and I said, well, I'll learn about it tonight. So I want you to know, this is the first time I've heard anything about any of this. And as a citizen, and someone who cares a lot about this town, and enjoys working with you guys, I hear the chairman's proposal here for the first time, and just nuts and bolts, plain and simple. You can fire these people, have a part-time position, and work with the police, and we can do it in-house because you care about our town. You're telling these people how to do it. We'll just do it ourselves. He doesn't have the resources. I get excited as a citizen. I go, oh my God, my Board of Health can tell the town council that they want more help, and then there can be a person. So if you guys are gonna have more discussion on this and come back, what I'm hoping and I'm asking the Board of Health is that you guys can go share this excitement with me. I mean, you should be excited now that this idea is out there, because I had no idea, and now I'm like, we got to do this. I want to hear what you come up with him to find out how many hours this person needs to work, how much they need to get paid. Certainly, it's probably not a full-time position. You know, is it a stipend? What is it? Like, this is great stuff, and then we can fire one of the worst agencies that you guys have said. You know, and just getting away from all the other things we talked about. I mean, it seems like there's this beautiful light at the end of the tunnel. And I just, as a citizen, all of us as citizens, taxpayers, like we gotta work this out. This next meeting should have some really awesome stuff on it, based on the conversation I think we've had. So if you guys could, work something out and get excited too, I think that would be what's best for the town, because pro-business is totally.
And I don't disagree with you,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of information I'm hearing for the first time tonight.
yeah, absolutely.
Because what I hear from everybody, and we don't have the biggest one tonight, cut taxes,
No. Well,
okay? So we have concerns on how much we're gonna put on the table and have public run with and put you guys in a bind,
we can
because
easily study
we're not gonna do it. So the first thing we have to do is get together, we have to research the law and what the minimum standards are, and we have to reach out to Shane to see if it's possible for him. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of people in blue. Can they do it? Does he wanna get involved in it? That's his call.
Right.
Thank you.
And then we'll have to go from there. Anything else?
Good to know. Thank you. Everybody knows I have not been a supporter of this alliance for the last 2 years. I don't know, here's how they do their process. Their paperwork is horrendous. I think we should see if there's other agencies or grants out there that we can check into to do this. Everybody knows I've chastised the lawyer in a meeting. I've chastised Joan Hamlet and her colleague. Bad. So I need a point of information. Does this town have a local tobacco agent right now?
No.
We do not. I have an email dated August 21st from Joan Hamlet, who is the director of the Board of Health Tobacco Control Alliance. And one
Speak
part of
up a
it,
little so the mic gets you.
one part of it says, keep in mind, if a town/city does not have a local tobacco agent, which we do not,
Yeah.
then the state does the inspection for unfounded towns and communities directly with the Board of Health. So am I reading that correctly, that the state will come in and do it? So this is a state mandated thing?
It's,
Let them do their job.
And maybe FDA.
Just my opinion.
Because I was just looking it up, and it says the FDA designates the state DPH as being their enforcement agency.
you're exactly right. It's state law, it's federal law, and they are enforcing it.
Yep.
My only problem with that, and we've had this discussion, if we let the state come in and do it, we have zero control.
True.
We have zero say.
So I think,
If we make our own, to police our own, and we make a regulation that has one word to take the state law and make it just a skosh more stringent, we own it.
Yeah.
We did that with our other regulations, and what was said tonight, I think, is going in the direction that you want. Let's look into taking care of what we're required to do on our own, with our own resources, if the resources are available, but we'll look into it.
so my thing is this limits the tobacco control. I think they're incompetent. I really do. 2 years ago, I went after them. Still has not been corrected. I went after the lawyer. I went after Joan again 2 years later. Still hasn't been corrected. There's a problem with how they do their process. A big problem. And I respect everybody's opinion here tonight, whether you agree with me or not, you vote, whatever. I personally would like to make a motion that we put on for our October 10th meeting a vote whether or not to suspend our services with this company, because we get no information from them whatsoever. This email that I have here, one of my biggest gripes was their dates and timeframes on emails, correspondence, not even correspondence because we don't need to get those, but on how they do their process as far as coming in, going into the store, sending letters, certified, not certified, whatever, their dates are screwed up. I asked at the last meeting when Joan was here with her colleague that they need to give us a 2-week notice for when they're coming into town. According to the dates on this email that I have, and I don't know if I have the full email, but how I read this, the RE on this is retail education visit next week, 8/11 through 8/16. The email was sent 8/21. Still out of date, so I would like to make that motion. We have that on our October 10th meeting and to vote whether to continue with the alliance or suspend dealing with the Lemons Tobacco Alliance.
Can I ask one thing? And I want your opinion. I have no problem getting rid, because I don't like them either. Is a month going to prepare us to be ready to take this on? Or should we
Send it
have
to
the
the state.
motion? I refrain from sending it to the state because then we're going to lose 100% control. And that concerns me more than the mess that we're in now with the mess that the Tobacco Alliance. Looking into it, because I know Shane's going to ask. We just can't go to Shane and ask him if he can get an officer to be trained on the tobacco thing. There's query checks. You're working with minors. There's a lot of this logistics that go on with doing this. What's a time frame, and if he can do it? And that's the only thing I'm worried about.
So
Your
you're-
thing
so-
is by the next meeting, if
Alright.
that's going to give enough time to get a logistical answer of when we're going to be ready to do our own.
Chair, I could say we'll make it a priority and we will be ready. We can do it. It's feasible.
So my thing is also, you know, let's do the avenue, let's check in, is there other agencies that we can use, grant funded or not? I mean, Gus just pulled one up tonight very quickly in 30 seconds, but is there other avenues we can go down? Because we've had problems with this alliance group for the 2 years plus that I've been on the board. And
It-
everybody here agrees,
We got to research the frequency of requirements of the law.
I mean-
We might not have to do illegal sales once every 3 years, so that gives us a long time to
You made a
work.
lot of valid points. It's very compelling. But I can tell you, we can be ready. We can make it happen. And that will also entail visits with you, Chair. Sit downs, you and I.
And we need to, if we're going to involve the police,
Yes,
we need
yes,
to.
yes.
I'm concerned about making that, yes, we can do it without Shane's input right now. Because I don't know what his thing is, and it's only right to give him the say, because he knows more about a lot of laws than we do.
so if I make the motion that,
I don't
On
think
our-
I don't think we need a motion. We take no action now. We've already had the discussion of what avenue we want to work.
okay, so my thing
We-
is I want to make sure it's on the October 10th agenda, whether we discuss
Oh, we
it.
will have, I will
Wanna
have
make
it
sure.
on the agenda as an update.
Okay.
And if we are ready to go by the October, and we have all the players ready to go, then I will entertain a motion to stop the,
Continuous. I just don't want this to get
any
prolonged and
relationship with
prolonged.
the
I
Tobacco
want-
Alliance.
That's my thing, I just
Yeah.
don't want it to get thrown on the
I'm
back
just
burner
concerned
and go.
about putting a date and we're not ready,
Right.
and then having that trip happen.
Just one further comment. Don't contact the chief, contact the town manager. Town manager will look at it holistically through his department, he's the guy to go to. And Jack will keep us informed on council. We just gotta open up the line of communication, it's all we need, it doesn't cost anything. Starting with you and the town manager and you know, agent. And then from there, we'll build whatever we need to build. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. Chair Lazo, about the health director, the previous one, and then the sunshine came out. And you, the moon came out. That's why we got rid of the first one. We got you. We know you're a good chair.
How big
We
is
know
your,
you do
how big is your
homework.
trowel?
We know you do your homework, and you did it more than anybody ever. What you have information tonight, it's more than I ever heard it from anyone. So we're not against you, we're with you. You're doing your job 100% plus, and that's why we support you all the way. So I just want you to feel proud of yourself, what you're doing. Thank you.
I'm not, I'm just doing my job.
Just talk a little less with the other.
All right, zip it in the gallery.
Mr. Chairman,
I'll remember that, I'll go to the next council meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to reiterate too, as clearly you have council support here, but if the director thinks that he has time for October 10th, there's no reason why certain subcommittees can't mobilize with information. You get to the town manager about a part-time position. I mean, we can all be ready for everything because we're working together. We're here now having this really great discussion. So, I mean, I'm EHS, Dow is PPP. I mean, there's everybody we need to continue this positive moving forward. And we're all on board with it.
The thing you have to keep in mind, it might not be that much money. If you look at the police department structure of how we do what we do on the police side, we have different stipends for police officers, take different duties. You have cops and kids, you have, different stuff at the school, the resource officers are different. They're police officers first, but they have specialty training in different areas, like the alcohol training and that. And that's why I think if the Board of Health talks to Jack and comes forward and want to put this tobacco thing on the playing field, I got a feeling we can get some police officers, stipends even. The cruiser goes by these places all day. You don't have to hire another person. So I think this meeting, to open up this discussion, we have to do more of this with our boards and commissions, because I think we just want to know, and we want to do the right thing, we want to support our boards and commissions. We've got a good board out, we've got a good agent. Let's just get together and work it out. I think we're going to be fine.
Agreed.
Thank you.
I just sent the manager an email to see if he's got any time tomorrow. Okay. Any action left on number 6? Are you good with taking no action at this time? Yes. Okay. All right, nothing else, let's go to 7. Review plastic bag and take any plastic bag. It should say plastic bag regulation and take any action. I believe you asked.
Mr. Chair, I asked you to put this on our agenda. The board voted, many years ago to ban, 2019, to ban plastic bags. You were on a committee back then. I know you guys spent a lot of time in doing this.
You're welcome.
I just think right now, I'm hoping, I'm gonna make a motion shortly to revisit this and hopefully change it. There's numerous businesses in this town that use these plastic bags to this day. It's not enforced. I don't agree with it, and I think we should reverse that decision and go back to plastic bags so it's favorable for all businesses and people in this town. No disrespect to you and the hours you spent doing it in 2019. I was asked by a few other people in town to bring it up, and that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment? Gus?
I support keeping this in place. I think it does need to be looked at and worked out a little bit. I like to see it be stronger. Because one of the concerns that I have, and we are a Board of Health, we are not a Commerce. And part of the Board of Health's duty is obviously protecting health. There are numerous cases of science reports coming out for years and years now that show just how toxic plastic is. And I think we should be doing what we can, and I don't know how we do it on the local level, because it really requires a state and federal action. But at the local level, I think we can do what we can, and ultimately, really, we should be banning plastics. Because there are so many chemicals in them, they're endocrine disruptors, they're cancer causing, they have all kinds of variety of health issues that we don't even understand half the time how they interact with each other. And microplastics are becoming a huge issue in recent months. I can send you several links.
But we're not taught, let's keep the topic.
But they all ultimately come from, for example, the breakdown.
This
of
what
plastic
stems.
bags.
This what started, yes.
The fact that they get distributed, the fact that we're using those things, yes, I agree with Kevin that they are not being enforced well. So maybe we need to look into how to do that. But I think that the plastic films have been a problem for a long time. They are still floating all over the place. I mean, you can literally find them floating across the street on a daily basis. The last thing we want to do is make it weaker. When the health calls for getting rid of this stuff.
My opinion on it is my son's a huge environmentalist. All he talks about is saving turtles, plastic straws, plastic bags, plastic everything. He'd like to ban everything as well. But I am open to discussion with everybody about this and see where this goes.
Mike was first.
Do you want to first?
Just a quick comment.
So I didn't have the choice.
I yield the floor for a moment.
Shocking.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick comment. I'm speaking as a citizen here. My groceries usually fly across Big Y or Big Money Market lot because of paper bags, okay? And I get frustrated with it. I agree with a lot of what Gus is saying, but the thing is, I sit here today in Southbridge, and I go to the market, and I grab the carriage, and I put my plastic milk container, my plastic yogurt, my plastic bag for my bread, my plastic bag for my cold cuts, and I go throughout the market. My soda is in plastic, and I do believe that recycling is the answer. Otherwise, put your plastics in the proper place. But the thing is, when you get done putting all that plastic in your carriage, and then you pull up to the counter and you're putting it in a paper bag, I turned around and I go, it just didn't make sense to me. But it wasn't too long ago, Mr. Chairman, I think you're old enough to remember, when we went to plastic. Why did we go to plastic? Because we didn't want to kill the trees. That's what was told to us. And I'm sitting here, I pay for those paper bags every time I go there. I live alone, I'm a contractor, I swing by the market, my bag rolls open, I pick my groceries up in the parking lot again, and I just get frustrated with it. I put everything in the truck and I go home. So for me, when someone says, the theory in getting from plastic to paper, well, why don't we get the other products? And then it's not there. So for me, I think it's foolish to turn around and cost the citizens money when we're not making a full commitment to get rid of plastic. Don't tell me to get rid of plastic straw. I mean, like, I don't know what the answer is. Moving forward, maybe society will come up with it. I thought recycling was the answer, but then they say don't put the plastic bag in recycling.
No, it's non-recyclable.
Right.
That was
You know what I'm saying?
one reason that spurred the interest into this regulation, because that, like styrofoam is recyclable, by the way,
Right.
but there's no market because it's by the ton.
Right, exactly.
So it's recyclable, but there's no method to recycle it.
So in looking at it holistically at this point, I go back to plastic bags. I mean, don't get me wrong, I use plastic bags. I use them because I'm in the concrete industry. We put them on our work boots to pull our concrete boots over, and I've got bags and bags. But I have to get them from residents in Southbridge that shop at shops. Well, one of the surrounding towns, I can't get them in Southbridge, but it makes no sense to me. At this point here, I go right back to plastic. It's cost effective. And we won't kill any more trees.
Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I have a lot to say about this issue. I've been waiting for this to come up for some time now. And, it's piggyback off what Councilor Lazo says, the convenience factor for the citizen, it is not just anti-business, it's anti-citizen. For the money it's costing, and then people will go shop at Shaw's just to get those plastic bags, because people do recycle those plastic bags by using them at home themselves. You remember, we used to do it all the time, but now we can't from big money. So there's the big convenience fee there. The environmental impact, when you're talking about banning it from grocery stores, and it's not enforced, and it's all over town, there's plastic bags being given for the takeout orders of every restaurant, we are not helping the issue. We are confusing and annoying our citizens. Forget about the impact on the business side. But you also are promoting these bags that people end up throwing away that you buy at the end for $1. They're made of even thicker plastic, which is even crazier. It's recycled thicker plastic, but they're promoting that they buy them and reuse them, and then when they get the juice from the meat on the side of it, they throw it away. Again, you just thrown away like 12 plastic bags in one with this thickness. But the thing which might even interest you, Mr. Steves, is that the Senate passed the law for the statewide ban of plastic bags in June. The House is having trouble with it. They believe that they can fix this in a timely manner during this session. So be it. New Bedford, their town council is in control of plastic bag ban, not the Board of Health. What did New Bedford do? They removed their ban because 160 towns and cities in this Commonwealth all have different weird versions of this ban. Like Gus said, that it doesn't really, maybe needs to be fixed and enforced, but here's the thing. Talk about we don't have enough resources to do things. Don't waste your time fixing the plastic bag ban. New Bedford just removed theirs because they know that the state is going to ban it within the next year or two, and they're going to be given a proper regulation. If the state wants to do it, then fine. But don't waste your time trying to reinvent the wheel when the state's this close. Get rid of the ban. Allow people to be happy again with their grocery shopping. Allow people to stock up on some of those plastic bags while we wait for the real state ban to come in, and stop worrying about it, because it's not helping anybody. It's making people go to different towns for their groceries, and it's just another pain for businesses. And I'm pro-environmental too, but when the Senate has just passed it, and the House is going to give us exactly the same guidelines for all 370 whatever towns,
51.
just get rid of it like New Bedford did, and then wait for the guidance. It's not, we're not killing anybody by having this plastic bag ban in effect, or repealing it. I really wish that you guys would repeal it tonight, because it's just, we're gonna get the exact guidance sooner than later. And so just do what New Bedford did. They did a vote from 8 to 2, it was a super majority. They got the picture, and not even half the cities and towns have it to begin with. So I think it's a pro-business move as we try to do all this restaurant stuff in town and rebuild all this area in town. State will take care of it, and they'll give us exactly the same regulations for everybody everywhere. And I really think you should follow New Bedford's footsteps and repeal it tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You had your hand up?
Thank you, Chair Trio. I feel like we're doing like the state. We banned the menthol, we allowed the marijuana. I mean, every town around us, they have a plastic bag. Let's do a community with all these towns and make it one decision. People like previous speakers, they'll go to different town, bring the plastic bag. I still buy a plastic bag to put in my kitchen trash, my bathroom trash,
So do I.
my trash. So before, when I get the grocery in a plastic bag, I don't have to buy a plastic bag because I use that bag for the trash. I mean, I don't know. I agree with certain things, but I think we're way fast on things. It's not really gonna happen. Like Scott said, you grab the paper bag and you worry about fall. Plastic bag, when I used to purchase things from the stores, I put it on my car, hang on my shifter to put all my trash. Now you see people, not me, but you see people from the window, where I'm gonna put it, you know? That's a water bottle plastic, that's a milk bottle plastic, that's candy plastic, you know? I think let's work on it and be a little smarter, move that plastic bag ban.
Maureen, you had your hand up?
I honestly don't know why you guys are so married to single-use whatever, be it plastic or paper. Why not use a reusable bag? I have many in my car
Okay,
that
but
I've made from my chicken
that's
bags.
not what-
They're durable.
That's not what the item,
It is.
this is not what the agenda item is speaking about,
Because
Maureen.
I think we should keep the plastic bag ban. People need to use reusable bags, and I'd be happy to give anybody one. I have them in my car. We need to keep this ban bag because we have too much plastic in our lives.
How you doing? Dan Fuentes, 244 Hamilton. I agree with the council members. If it was this big of a issue, if they were so passionate to ban plastic bags, why hasn't it been enforced every turn of the corner? Like
You know-
you said, I can go to everywhere that's not a corporate spot
God.
gets plastic bags. If you're not Big Y, if you're not Big Bunny, if you're not Cumberland Farms, you will give me a plastic bag because that's where I get them from. So I see it's very passionate about banning them, but I don't really see much of enforcement going on, which doesn't show consistency in what you would want banned. So I say repeal
Well,
it, let us make our own
Who's the
choice.
enforcing group in the town?
it would be the health department.
Would it be you?
Yeah. So me joining in
So,
December.
so,
Just ratted yourself out.
No, it's fine. But what I'm saying is the past. I
Here's
joined
my-
the health department. I'm
here's
asking
my
you
point.
as a citizen, not as a
This
member of the
was-
health department.
this
You're not
was
addressing me as
a
citizen.
very long and intense discussion.
Yes, it was.
We can't buy fireworks in the state of Mass, but you can go 5 minutes down the road.
Yep.
Sturbridge isn't doing it. Why are we doing it? I hope to hell, Mike, and it really shocks me from the group that says, let's wait for the state, when this group has always said, don't wait for the state for shit, because they're gonna screw it up. Okay, and now, look, I'm gonna be honest, because I watch every meeting. I don't trust the state coming through with something until the ink is on the paper, number one. Because they will sell us down the tubes as fast as the river can flow. This was a long thing because of people that didn't put it on their shifter and reuse it, or put it in their boots and reuse it. It was because of the pigs
Yep.
that threw it out the window and it got caught in the trees all over because this is the bags with the handle.
Yep.
I used to keep them all the time. Our grocery stores, and we publicized it till we bled, they had the little buckets in the front entries where you could recycle them. Don't put them in your recycling bin, because those were tanglers that got our workers caught in the transfer stations, which you all remember what happened when we had one up here. Okay? Besides the trash and the gentleman getting hurt and a tangler up here at the recycling, is what started the movement on the rebag ban. Okay? We had a lot of meetings, we had public hearings. We worked with the industry. Because Big Y didn't care, because they just shipped their plastic bags to Rhode Island to another store. But people like Big Bunny did. People like the Ellen Center did. So what we did as a board, even though it's enacted now, how often do you buy it? Every 2 months. You got 2 months to use what you have, don't order more. That's what we did. And they were allowed to use what they had in stock. I just have real bad concerns. I hope to God that you're right, that the state's gonna come through with a standard. But I can't think of a standard the state came through so far that works. And to use the analogy that the Board of Health puts on a regulation and it's not enforced, so let's get rid of it. No matter what the regulation is, that excuse bothers me.
Yeah, okay.
I can go down Worcester Street and to hell with the speed sign because let's have the cops get rid of all our radar guns. Is that the answer? And that, right, wrong, or indifferent, the reason that it's not enforced really irks me for a reason to get rid of a regulation. I have a hard time with that. I hope you're right with the state.
Well, may I?
Go ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate it. You know, what Gus is saying too, all makes a lot of sense. But in the lack of enforcement is not why you should take it off. Gus said that this thing needs to be reworked because it's not right. And the amount of plastic that you are given, one-use plastic, like milk cartons during the day, this isn't working for a number of reasons the way it's written. And it's nothing against you or a previous Board of Health. But as you see other cities and towns saying, okay, the Senate's got it and the House is going to, I hope it doesn't pass the House, and I hope the ban, I don't agree with the ban at all. But the writing is on the wall with the state. So if our biggest concern here is that ours isn't working right, and it's really just causing our citizens, forget the business, even though we need more business to lower the tax rates, we have commercial, and it all comes around full circle. You know, the citizens, it's just a nuisance, what we're providing, because it's not being enforced correctly, but it's not written correctly to what other people are saying. So the state's about to write one, and then you can do your thing too, where you can take the states and you can make it a tiny bit more stringent, and then you can be in total control of it after they make it. But in the meantime, we need a new one. And it's anti-business, and it's anti-convenience for these citizens. I mean, we already live in a town where we have to have 40 police officers to keep us safe, and they do a great job. But not every town has that. The people in this town have to deal with a lot of things, and we're creating an inconvenience and of something that's about to be handed to us sooner than later that's gonna work. So let's just get rid of this one. Not because it's not being enforced, but because once there's real guidelines, you can take it and make your own. There you go.
Scott?
All right, just a quick comment. The word you said, nuisance, that's what it is. For me, it's a nuisance. And I have to buy the bags every time I go there. You know what I do with the paper bags? I throw them in the trash, I do not reuse them. So if you're really into reusing, you go back to plastic. And it's a nuisance. I mean, my groceries fly out the back, they rip. So I gotta say, and I gotta pay for it. I gotta pay to do that, to irritate myself.
I'd be happy to give you a reusable bag.
George?
When this first came before the board,
He'll probably fill it with cement and he won't put his groceries in.
when this first came before the board many, many years ago, I was kind of supportive of it because all the stuff that was going on about plastic bags. Not even to go with the landfill, it was more the plastic bags getting caught in the equipment and those kind of things. And if you recall, the guy that got killed in the landfill got sucked in because he had a hoodie sweatshirt on and he shouldn't have. But I look at this thing as a field regulation, not because of a combination of things. I remember during the discussion of the plastic bags, the hopes of the community at the time when they went to this, that the neighboring communities were gonna follow suit and ban the plastic bags there too. That did not happen. So we got a community, Southbridge, that banned plastic bags, that I'm gonna say it's not that it's enforced, it's not enforceable.
Yes, it is.
It's not, because the manpower is not there. You just, do you enforce something, or you take your efforts to what really counts? That's what we do as a community, Board of Health. So all I'm saying is that I look at it as a field regulation because of what's happened in your neighboring communities. You go to those places to get the trash, the bags. You come to Southbridge, you get a paper bag at the grocery stores. You cost more for the consumer and the people that utilize the place. The regulation isn't enforced. The inconvenience that has been done to the community, I think you look at the whole big package of the thing. It was a great idea back in the day when it was first envisioned, but that vision never came to fruition. So I guess is the better word to use. It's not enforceable. And I would hope that the board rescinds their action and go back to it. I think it's good for the consumer in itself. It's just, I feel it's a field regulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think it's a fallacy, and it's really disingenuous to say that this has not been enforced by the health department or the board. It has. Not in a manner which constitute fines or penalize in that manner, but there has been, and I've even done it, outreach and discussions with business owners. The problem is, it just hasn't resonated with these businesses. That's why they go back to using these plastic. There's no substance or significant or credible scientific feelings that they have that they should be taken away from. That's why when we have initiated these type of measures, and since I've been here, discuss with business owners and they will comply, but that is not long lasting. So it reverts back to the use of these types of bags. And why is it? Many have told me they just don't feel that there is, again, enough environmental justification to say that they should be pulled. If you want to look at carbon footprint, I can tell you reusable bags take much more and utilize more carbon than single-use bags, and even paper. And there is again credible evidence from both sides. That is my opinion. on the matter. So, the fact remains that this is a law that was enacted in 2019. Efforts have been made. I do have verification and documentation made that the team, before I was even here, did go out, when I got here, made efforts to go out and speak with retailers and business folks. And again, it's just not long lasting. I personally feel that this type of ban should be rescinded at this point. That's my opinion on the matter.
Thank you, Chair. Do one more thing. You go to Dunkin' Donuts, you buy a donut, you put it in a plastic bag, paper bag. Well, doesn't donut, you put it in the papers. Joe coffee, you put it in the box. And at the end, they give you a big plastic bag to put everything in. You go to a grocery store, 2 apples, put it in a plastic bag. Banana in a plastic bag, cucumber in a plastic bag. Milk, chocolate, whatever in a plastic bag. And you go to the cash register and put it in a paper bag. There's a jerk.
The problem is with this, that started it, is the pigs.
I agree, that's the problem.
But you can
Because you couldn't go to Big Y without seeing plastic and all the trees all the way around that thing because people are pigs. And
This is because we used to have a.
it was a starting point.
We used to have a dump in town of Southbridge, which wasn't correctly covered, the wind was blowing everything everywhere, regardless of the plastic, was the papers, was the
No.
plastic, was everything you called it down the road, you know what I mean? It's not
That was an excuse on the landfill. I'm just talking something else. I was on this.
I know what you.
I will entertain whatever motion the board wants. But I just have a problem with, because it's not enforced, I've been hearing, George, you said it, we don't have the manpower, but we have it for the tobacco.
No, no, not at this point in time.
But
Not at
But this has been going on since 19. You see where my dilemma is, sitting here on this side of the table? Okay, if we're gonna make things for the town, it has to be on honest, open information. They should have banned all plastic, and I believe I agree with Scott, okay? Don't tell me about the milk jugs, because that has a little diamond on the bottom, and I put that in my recycling bin because there's a market for that.
Sort of, that's available actually, that's a different issue.
That is accepted
It is
in
accepted, I know it is.
all the recycling, so it goes to recyclables. Those bags were not,
I know.
okay?
I get that.
So let's just keep that even and let's not start talking politics.
No, there's some
So,
differences with plastic isn't
To move on, I'm gonna move this question, we've been talking about it.
Can I just correct something? Recyclable, reusable bags do not have a bigger carbon footprint. I have a cloth bag that I got when I was 16, I'm 55 now, and that I'm still using. I don't think there's a carbon footprint problem there.
There's many definitions of makeups of reusable bags, so we can be here till next month.
Exactly.
Okay.
One more thing, please.
That's one issue.
One more thing, Chair.
That's it, you're
One more
done.
thing.
You said that 3 times now.
Repeat the camera, one more thing. Yeah?
Go ahead, quickly.
Is that possible to bring a germ or COVID or any virus from home with that reusable bag to the stores and put it in a carriage and let other person catch the virus, whatever you bring from home, regardless of, that's germ. You bring it from back from house. You don't know where that bag was. You don't know the house that is there.
We're getting way off track, George,
No, it's
Joe,
true.
because,
That's your problem.
Thank you.
you know, that germs can be transported by many different venues,
Yeah, but you bring it
vectors,
from different homes to the
Even your
store.
shoes.
even the shoes.
Exactly.
Well, again,
Walking in your.
we wash our bags because of the meat being spilled and everything else,
God bless.
Yeah,
okay? Because
you have to.
we're not pigs,
Eating washes, man.
okay? We're not pigs.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we would not need a Board of Health if people were doing things correctly. We would not need a town council if people were doing things correctly. And that's the stuff that we're faced with today.
Better bend and educate.
We try, but you can't educate the
Put
people
them on
who
your
don't.
TV, on your local TV, put on newspaper, educate. Make a class.
Huh?
on this, is it possible as a board, we can, this was done 5 years ago.
Yep.
Times have changed. Like I said, no disrespect to you and everybody else that was on the board at 19, but can we, as this board, revisit this and maybe see if there's a way we can adjust it?
We can
Since
do
it's,
anything we
it's
want,
5 years old now,
but
and you know,
my
it's no
opinion,
different
what I
than
would
our
like
charter.
to
We
do,
change our charter to the times, and
do you have that number that they're looking, the house number that they're looking to vote on?
I just sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to me?
I just sent it to
This
you.
past session, that folder is all done.
And all the.
No, supposedly it went to the house.
to the house.
Good, but the session is all done. The state senate and that, they're done,
Well, I'm,
So
What
the
if-
bills fall apart, I think.
what I'm saying is to look at the language. Because if it's possible that they're gonna do a law, why are we going to recreate the wheel and waste our time
Exactly.
if they're gonna do a law?
Well, what are the
Now, if they're gonna look at a law, look at their verbiage. And if they don't do it, we can take that as a learning experience with tools to maybe adjust this.
But can we repeal it in the meantime, Mr. Chairman?
Here's my problem with that. Here's my question with that.
Your health director wants to.
Well, here's my question with that. And I will say it this way. My stores. This was a hardship on the stores when we enacted this. Okay, on some stores. Like I said, the mom and pop stores, the little Elm Center, they could not ship their plastic bags to another place like Big Whitehead. If we repeal this, I'm worried about a hardship it would put on our places.
But Mr. Chairman, we don't know.
It would be voluntary for them to get rid of their paper bags.
They always had them before.
No, they didn't.
But Mr. Chairman, how
Give me
many,
the option.
you don't know how many people that they've lost to Shaw's Big Bunny. They could have lost 50 regular customers, which inconveniences them a hell of a lot more than the remaining plastic bags that were affected in 2019.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody could tell us that.
Well, no, but I mean, you've got to think that the price of the plastic bags is not outweighed by the loss of customers. Because I'd rather go to Shaw's if I had the time, you know?
But, Mr. Chairman, you just said it. If you repeal it, it's their choice whether they want to go back to it or keep paper. Give them that choice. That's what America's all about.
Pro-business.
Freedom,
You're right, Walt.
Anything else?
So I gotta do with freedom.
the freedom.
And it's nothing to do with it.
Anything else on the board? Okay. I'll entertain a motion, or otherwise it's no action.
I'd like to make that motion to vote on it.
To do what?
To make a motion, word your motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote on reversing the decision in 2019 on banning the plastic bags. And leave it up to the consumers.
You mean on repealing chapter 5?
Yeah, I guess that's the easiest way.
That's what-
Okay.
that's
The
what you
easiest way is repeal chapter
said.
5.
That's what you're saying.
I'll make a motion to repeal chapter. Please.
I need a second.
The other one second.
I need a second.
Mr.
I
Chairman,
don't have a
I
second.
have one question. To do that, we would have to go to public hearing.
I do not think, I don't think we have to go to a public hearing to repeal. We are not adding, because we're not adding any hardship on the public.
What you just said to me? I don't know if that's. I'm not supporting it anyway, but I think we've settled it.
If you, all right, if you have that concern, I can reach out to find out if we have to. I don't believe we have to because we're not adding a hardship like when we,
But it doesn't go
create-
anyway, so it doesn't make a difference.
if you were not going to second it,
No,
then it doesn't go anywhere.
exactly.
So it's a moot point.
Right, okay. It would be good to know.
In the meantime, for the next meeting, you sent me that verbiage.
Yes, it did.
We'll look at that and I'll get the information on the process to make sure that we do it the right way if we repeal it.
And it's going to, they want it to be chapter 21P or the plastic restrictions.
Go to Shaw's, you're spending more
Okay,
gas.
thank you. All right,
I said it's all everybody else.
all right. Number 8, Director of Health, Dan Wozniak. Did I say your name right?
Good enough. Boschik is the
Washik?
Boschik is the right,
Why aren't you-
correct Polish
Why aren't you frickin'
pronunciation.
Irish? Okay, Abe, any update on Triple E?
Yes.
I know I sent out the last weekly
Yes.
arborvirus
Yes, thank you,
report.
Chair. Things have just been very fluid.
Status quo.
Yes, yes. And I'll make it quick.
For the
due to
public.
constraints. Surveillance activities continue, and I've identified through mosquito sampling for Triple E and West Nile virus increased positive samples. In addition, equine and mammal testing is taking place. Human surveillance has revealed individuals from Middlesex, Suffolk, Bristol, and Barnstable counties tested positive for both Triple E and West Nile virus. Some communities have been raised to critical risk, Plymouth and Worcester County, for Triple E. Ground spraying was initiated and will continue in Douglas, Dudley, Oxford, Sutton, and Uxbridge for control of mosquito activity. I just want to give everybody a reminder to raise awareness to enact prevention measures. These constitute limited activity at dusk and dawn, using repellents, and overall limiting exposure to these mosquitoes.
Okay. Questions?
No, I just wanted, I see that this report here says that the DPH did detect Triple E in some samples collected here, although in previous years they hadn't.
Previous what?
In previous years they had not.
Well, they don't test,
Specifically in
the problem is that they don't test everywhere.
That's right.
No, they don't. That's the catch. They were sent. They were
In that spraying, are they spraying again in Dudley? Or was that related to the last spraying?
The last spraying.
Okay.
And they may very
I know
well,
they
that's their
sprayed in-
decision that they will make. you
Yeah,
know.
I know they
Um,
sprayed in Dudley, Oxford, Milford, Millbury,
Milford,
and
okay.
parts of Sturbridge.
Huh?
Millbury,
Maybe.
on the Oxford side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not, we're not hooked up to spray with them, are we?
We're not what?
We're not hooked up to spray with, for them to spray us, are we?
Yes, we are. We have not opted out as a community.
I thought we had.
I don't have any documentation as.
With the state?
With the state.
Well, with this, well, I don't, I think.
We did not join a mosquito
Mosquito
control
control.
alliance.
Right.
We did not do that. That was like, what?
$59,000.
$60,000.
Yeah,
we
did not do
I
that.
remember that.
But these spraying on most of these communities
These are DPH.
were because of DPH state spraying.
Yeah.
And as an individual, you can opt out if it's truck mounted spraying only. If it's aerial spraying, because we did this before, we had to give the community SDS sheets, we had to have the chemicals and all, everything, and we had to warn, everybody had to be warned.
Okay.
But this was a state issue, I don't believe
Yeah.
we,
Can't circumvent that. if
Correct.
Do they at least warn us if they're coming?
oh no, they do,
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but
they have to.
I would
That-
hope they would.
that decision is on them.
I'm not in favor of
Right.
spraying, but
They have to warn us and they have to make available of what the product is they're using.
that's good enough. 'Cause I personally am in favor of spraying for sort of reasons, but.
Are they spraying this year at all?
No clue.
Okay. No?
As of now, no.
Okay.
In our town.
Until
Wanna make
They
sure.
will only look at spraying when the risk goes up to, what's their term, extreme,
critical.
critical.
Yeah, we're in
Okay,
moderate.
we're at moderate. So that
So-
means take your precautions.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it got critical and valid information and whatever other subjects they use to make it, to elevate it, then they might go to spray.
Right.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Any update on COVID or anything else?
Make it quick with COVID and infectious diseases. I have for you, I know we've had intense meetings, just the latest count for the diseases that was forwarded to me by.
How did that
Health
relate to last month?
There's a slight increase, 32 confirmed cases of COVID last month, jumping to 45. Okay? So,
And again, I take limited I take limited confidence in this
Yeah.
compared to when we dealt with COVID, because this does not constitute a home test. It's unreportable.
Right.
And I know my family physician, when I spoke to him and I had my physical, has prescribed, because if you did a home test, you can call them for that medication.
Oh, yes.
Within, I can't
yes,
remember
yes,
the name.
Yes.
And he's probably sent in scripts that are 45 a week
Wow.
for these people that went on trips or whatever and did the
Yeah.
home test.
Sure.
And because he did not administer the test, it doesn't require him to report.
Huh.
So this is like the flu. This is only a very, very vague footprint.
Yeah.
Okay,
Have-
that's
have-
it?
have we seen
Sure,
this video?
and just most noteworthy, as we look into the diseases, both confirmed and suspect, is babesiosis, which is an infection from ticks. Malaria type infection with the malaria type symptoms. It's more prevalent where malaria is endemic. But it did, well, we had number of cases. That just came out to me and seen that. So, other than that, we'll continue to monitor and report.
Are we hearing of any cases in Massachusetts, I know there aren't any here, of that new H5N1?
The H1, yeah,
H5N1
there has, yes,
in Massachusetts?
yes.
Yeah.
I can't specifically say, but it's
I
been
know
reported
they're
there have.
reporting cases in other states,
Yeah.
mostly exposed to.
I can't confirm that, this is just what I've heard. Again, what I can confirm, none here in town.
Yeah, and that's good.
Okay, C, update on camera cell phones. What I can say, to take the load off of you for a moment, the phones have been purchased, the cameras have been purchased, and we are working on making them work. Okay, and they will be placed at undisclosed, we have 2 of them right now that will be placed at undisclosed areas that we have common illegal dumping, to try to curb the problem. So we're working on that. D, blight update.
Light update. Thank you, Chair. Again, I'll make it quick. I'll just run down my list to share with the board members. 131 Dennison Cross Road, the Attorney General Office, the Assistant Attorney General will be handling this case. It will be moved to receivership, quite possibly. Okay? 50 Clark Street, continued violations. Another set of penalties have been set out, meaning the 21D tickets. They are failing to respond and taking remedial measures. 243 Morris Street is currently in housing court. Owners have come here from Texas and are making corrections as we speak. 215 Hamilton, correction orders were issued for the piles of debris and rubbish subsequent to their remodeling, gutting of the interior. So the health department has partnered with the building inspectional team in order to get compliance. And I just want to share to everyone that it was identified to me that the building inspector and the commissioner will be making a visit tomorrow regarding this matter.
215.
215, they had a building permit, they instituted work, the gutting. That building permit ended. And again, what we have from a public health nuisance standpoint is just piles of debris, rubbish left in the backyard, large ones, so of
A
concern.
story and a half up against the building.
Yeah, yes. Understand there's fire concerns, or possibility of fire.
And now a lot
So-
of people are using it as a dump.
And, well, good point.
What?
I want to talk about 215 Hamilton Street since you brought it up. We've been discussing this for over a year and a half. I know I spoke with the building inspector and Teddy. I know they're on top of it. I know they issued their fines, but I want to make a motion that we put an order of condition on 215 Hamilton Street to have it clean in 5 days if not $250 a day. We've been going after this for a year and a half. The conditions, they took down a garage back there without permits. There's debris everywhere. The pile is 2 stories high, and now, in the last 2 or 3 days, there's trash bags in the pile now. I mean, there's a toilet bowl in a pile. I think as on a Board of Health side, I know the inspections department is on top of it. I think us as the Board of Health should step in now, just to put a little more oomph behind it, because they have not been doing anything to that building in quite some time. I believe the permit was good until, I think, the 19th or the 29th, but there hasn't been activity in that building for quite some time.
Can I ask, Kevin, would you and the board members feel it necessary to continue the fines or make a move to housing court through Attorney Caprera should they not attempt compliance efforts?
Are they already being fined?
We have fined them. So we have issued that correction notice, the
Has
one
the Board
this
of
week.
Health, or has
No, as the health department, it's the Board of Health.
Yeah.
We have issued a 21D.
Okay.
So we waited following our discussion, what was a bit of resistance is they had a building permit up to August 20th.
Yeah, it's expired now.
And it's expired. I know Mike was on them for these piles. They were growing and growing. Belief was that maybe they would continue another permit, pull another permit, or renew it. That those measures haven't been taken, and we're left with piles. And that's why the health department interjected, and we said enough is enough.
So, let me ask you this.
Yeah,
21D was ordered. Basically, that's an order to pick up your mess.
yeah.
Did they reply?
They have not yet.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is this was sent out, and it was from Dan, the direct inspector, excuse me, I believe on Monday or Tuesday. So we have sent that out, waiting for service, and along those lines, a $250 fine has been issued with I think in order to correct within 7 days. Okay. From the time they're served. Now, will they react? Is the question. We're hopeful, but if not, what can ensue is continued fines, or again, what I would like to ask from board members, whether it would be necessary to stop the fines and move into court.
Point of information, if I can, yeah. Board of Health issued a 21D,
Yes.
7 days from when they receive it.
Oh, no, what we issued the fine and a correction notice
Okay, yeah.
on about either this past Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so we send those via certified mail.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to give a time frame for that to be served, basically. Okay, in conjunction with regular mail. So we give approximately a 5-day window just for that service, and on top of that, we're obligated to give time to correct. Okay, that is just for correction standpoint. The fine is immediate. What we found constitutes a violation. It's immediate. That goes along with it. So we have set a reinspection date, which we are required to, and that could be sometime next week. But I would have to check with Dan. Now, should there's no compliance, no effort to obtain compliance, then we take action. We can issue another fine, give another order. That could be 2 days, 1 day. We could do those. Or again, what I would ask the board, would it necessitate and warrant, in your opinions, moving it right to court after that reinspection has taken place?
So when we go to court, what's that process when Attorney Caprera goes to housing court?
Well, that process is not immediate, okay? Because of the fact, what an obstacle now is having an individual, an owner, an entity served. This is what happened, for your interest, with 243 Moore Street. he had a heck of a time, I did as well, getting them served in Texas. We had to take, the measures through a sheriff constable down there to make that move, okay? And it's emphasized by the court that this has to take place. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. So when we issue an order through the certified mail, we have to give that time, and there is a lag time. It's really based on how quickly Postal Service can get that certified and it comes back.
Let me ask you a question in the meantime.
Yeah.
Where's the location of the owner? Local?
This
In the
one,
area.
it is. I think an LLC. They're
I
not.
can't
local.
remember, but I'm talking, the town has been in contact with them. By mail, by permit, there has been some communication with the town.
From the health department, yes, and
In the
more,
building.
and the building,
Okay,
yes.
so that being said, the town has reached out, they gave them orders, they've ignored the orders. You're going through the court process, there's a waiting, not the court, but the postal service process, there's a waiting time. I understand what Kevin's doing. Can we do an immediate cease and desist order to stop work and post that building tomorrow?
That is.
Until such time
Yep.
that it's incumbent upon them to go and see you in the building side and comply with your request.
Yes.
Do what you're told to get out of town type
Yes,
attitude.
and what I just would like to reiterate, tomorrow, I've been told, the new building commissioner, along with Mike, are going on site and taking those steps. Because you're
Okay.
right, Chair, they have, specifically Mike, Julian, has taken all steps through sending out orders, paperwork, discussing with them. So you're right, it's not like they did not know.
This has
They
been going
did
on
not-
since
The
March of
non-offending,
23.
the non-offending processes aren't working because they don't care, and they've increased that pile twofold.
And now the
Yeah,
neighbors-
so
the
they're
neighbors
still
are throwing
doing
household
work.
trash in it now.
Yes.
There's trash cans in it.
So there should be, if they're gonna go out there and put a cease and desist, and there's no activity on that site, until such time, then more drastic things can be taken
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
crack
Absolutely, agreed.
trespassing
Agreed.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think the basis now is to have those piles removed where it is, becoming a dumping
Getting
site.
bigger and bigger.
A
And
fire
comply.
issue. It's a nuisance, and
Yeah.
they're so large. No,
It is a big pile.
they are. There's two. I think two. It's scattered, so there is a bit of work. But yeah, they
That's their problem.
very apathetic. You're absolutely
That's
right.
their problem.
And no measures have been taken to even mitigate the situation and remove some of it.
So I'll withdraw my motion.
Cause they're
right
gonna
now.
go out and take action tomorrow?
Correct.
Okay,
I'll withdraw my motion for now.
okay.
Correct. And Dan Fuentes, our inspector, is going along with them. So it's going to be a team effort.
But if you can send them an email or something that it's the wish of this board,
Yeah, I can do that.
that whatever drastic, immediate stuff can be taken, immediate actions can be taken. You're gonna be in tomorrow, right, Patty?
Yeah.
Also, if I may.
Who do you want that email to go to? I'm sorry, Kev. Mike and Kenny?
Yeah, share it to
CC.
them. And Dan.
What'd you
Dan.
say?
I would
In-
CC Teddy as well.
Okay.
Teddy, Mike, and Dan. If Dan's going with them, share it with everybody.
Yeah.
There's no harm in sharing it. You can also CC
Can I
it.
have that as well, just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
CC it to us and CC it to Jack.
They are taking it seriously.
Which is good.
I'm
It's
sure
very
they-
good. They're very frustrated as we are as well.
I'm sure they are, but we didn't know that till now. So that way we get on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have any idea why this person has decided to basically drop the ball? I mean, because from what Kevin was saying, if this is
Well,
since 20.
Do you want to go on the rest of the list?
I think there's a list, and the chair's right. My understanding is that not a barn or a garage was demolished.
A garage.
Five-story
Okay.
garage, it's all sitting there.
Was demolished, and during the course of this renovation work,
Yeah. And then he hasn't bothered to finish renovating it. Because
Yeah,
it was
no,
practically what he
no,
wanted
it's-
in the start, so,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
only other thing I wanted to ask you as far as blighted properties goes, I remember last year, we talked about the building across from the hospital entryway. It's just before Mrs. Martin's building, it used to be a pizza shop back in the day, it's got the green
think the town
frontage,
owns-
it's not, across from the entry to the hospital now, you have the hospital building, and then on the end, you have the hospital spa, the little mom and pop.
I know where that
There's
is,
one
okay.
in between that we discussed, something about that being blight.
We did, but that was renovated.
That whole building?
Yes,
got
yes, it
renovated?
was.
Oh.
When I got, they had a building, we reacted, the health department, they had a building permit.
Okay.
That they were working on, and I believe it was completed properly.
Wasn't there
But-
something
but-
about a second egress and
Yeah, that's
the
what-
size?
Yeah, but
So
let
they
me,
did-
let me
all right,
confirm with the
I
building,
just-
but that was in the works, because it was brought, I do recall that, and I did bring that to the attention of Mike Julian, we had discussed that.
And then we're all good with the two on Main Street, Lower Main Street, 743?
We're not, the larger, yeah,
That's the one.
we are and we are not. That has to be again reviewed. The one of which, not the one that we had cleaned up,
Yep.
but the abutting large dwelling.
That's on
Just
State.
last week, the week before, I did see accumulation of tires. We don't want that to turn out to be a dumping ground. I have to really look back at the history. I know there's many.
There's different, yeah, people, like
assets
realtors
still-
and,
Yeah, but the ownership still remains.
okay.
It's been boarded and sealed up.
Right, like, I noticed. how
Okay,
it's starting.
so,
Yeah.
but the fact, it's deteriorating, it is, and there it sits.
Dentist office.
There's no maintenance efforts. And at one point, we were monitoring and we were successful with discussions of neighbors that it's not to turn into a dump site.
That's what I'm afraid of with the tires.
We're getting there. We're starting. I hope it doesn't escalate, but I can see it. So now measures have to be taken. So that's where I say it's been good up to now. But, okay,
Is that your list?
that's my list.
Can you add one?
Sure.
19 Jerome. Can you look at that, Jerome Street? 19 Jerome Street.
19 June.
I think that's a problem waiting to erupt.
Okay.
Oh,
We will
that was
certainly
the
take a
other one.
look.
can't I think about where Jerome Street is?
Off of Charles Street.
Charlton.
It's one of those little sites.
Charlton?
Yeah. After the school, it's like the third left.
Third or fourth on the left.
The other one I wanted to bring up, we talked about it previous, is the one on, behind Big Bunnies, there's two properties. on
Langlois.
Langlois.
Yeah.
I drove past there the other day and
And you're right. They made efforts. We've made orders to correct. They were reactive and they were showing the intent to remove. Problem there is
'cause there's
a number of
properties. There's
yeah
two properties.
two properties. But if the one you're referring to, there is no legal ownership right now. It's kind of in dire straits with the ownership. There was an estate in which the individual passed away. It's still tied up in court. Coupled with the fact that there's a number of legal things from, and also non-payment of taxes. We've also heard that there's individual squatters living in a number.
Yeah, that's our next upcoming problem.
Yeah, it really is. It compounded itself. We have taken a look at it a few weeks ago, issued another order to correct, and that one is coming up on the list to enforce more drastic measures. I think with all the legal challenges that's presented there, that may be one that we'll have to speak with Attorney Caprera in further detail of exactly what we can do. Again, our enforcement efforts with the orders to correct, we've seen minimal.
But is there a way we could do the order of conditions to correct where we assess the fines and max out the fines, which I don't know what the maximum amount is, but max out the fines since we're having all this legal problems. And now that we have the treasurer on board and everything going, eventually take it for tax title and
Well, certainly, and that's our hopes, where we find that when the issuance of 21Ds fall short because they're unpaid, okay? And we can issue those as we see fit based on bylaws and regulations. But the fact, it's usually why they're not paying taxes either.
Right.
And there's
already
more
in the
taxes owed, so they're not going to take the effort and pay the 21Ds. Now, with our new system, we could add those as a municipal charges, meaning those, the 21Ds. But again, if, hypothetically, if we give $2,000, $3,000 of penalties, okay, civil penalties, in fact, these properties owe much more than in taxes, and we can't even get that.
yeah, but I was just thinking then it gives us the fighting power when we need
It does,
And go
it
after
does,
it
it
with,
does, it does.
you know, the numbers up here and
Consequently,
then-
it does. And it will adversely affect the ownership and many legal processes
If it
when
adds,
we
if it
interject.
adds to our ammo.
It does.
That's
what I
all
was
the
thinking.
concern
We
is.
just keep staying on top of it and
But we're seeing that pattern in which there's no appeals of non-payment of 21D tickets. And then we do our research and we find out that taxes haven't been paid. In a long time. And are significantly much more than 21D ticket penalties.
In these cases, are these houses often vacant?
There are some, yeah, like, for instance, 50 Clark Street, you know, we're pursuing. It's not much we're really asking to board up and clean it out. I've been in contact with the new owner, a company from Meriden, Connecticut. They're just slow to react. And for that fact, another $250 fine has been issued just this week.
now you doing it weekly or daily? That's what I was trying to get. If
Well-
they're not responding, let's bang them.
Well, daily it can be done, but here's the thing, it's convoluted. You have to provide service. So for each fine, you send out, and they have to be given time to correct. And we can do that, you know, but it's more difficult in the eyes of the court system and the legal process.
Doesn't the law actually say that it's the fines are such that they're $250 per day to correct it? You don't have
That's
to-
how I
with-
that's how I thought
yes.
it
That's how I thought it
was. That's
was,
how I
too.
thought it was.
Yeah. Because I know that's how Concom does it, and I know that's how the planning board does it,
Exactly.
when they're fining people for whatever reason. I said they're until corrected, so they can accumulate to be 50,000.
Just as long, as the communication states it.
Yes, as long as it's in the
If
law.
they're given 5 days to correct the measure,
Yeah.
and it's worded that way, they have 5 days, then they're gonna get a fine.
Yeah.
If
That's
it's
true.
worded that you have 5 days to correct the measure, and then you will be fined X amount for every day until the measure is corrected, it has to be worded.
But that's what the law says.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the law says that, but if we're not enforcing the law, and if we don't wanna
That's the
take
issue.
that avenue, and we wanna take a court avenue,
Right.
that's not a violation.
That's the issue.
That is
It's-
something,
it's-
and that's been explained to, again, if their appeal process, and again, what I have to just reiterate, the time frame to issue this, so somebody legally is served.
Right.
So, but that's another challenge we have. And quite honestly, with the institution of the municipal charges lien, that is certainly something that has been on my desk to think about and take that approach. Because we're seeing more an influx of the non-payment and non-compliance with these issues.
How many of these, not that we changed the way we work, depends on whether it is, but how many of these are out-of-town landlords?
Many.
I bet.
So as far as I'm concerned, you know what, if these out-of-town people aren't gonna take any responsibility and respect into the town, whack them as hard as they can be
Yes,
whacked,
That's what I'd like to see happen.
and as soon as they can be whacked.
Yeah, give it to the rest.
Because if they're gonna let if they're gonna let our town look that way, they don't care.
I agree.
So if we can pay for a tobacco agent out of their fines, can we get the property cleaned up, our town cleaned up, and recoup something for our energy?
Okay, yeah.
Because like you say, everything that we've been saying, this blight stuff on some of these properties, and I'm not saying just from you, this has been going on since
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
we made the
You know
blight
that.
regulation.
These,
It's like pulling teeth in a chicken.
yeah.
It's,
Do chicken have teeth?
well, I'll explain that to you later, Pat.
All
I
right,
have to
all
say
right.
uphill in the
Will
lasses
do,
in the
will
winter.
do. Now, we will definitely make a visit to 19 Jerome Street.
Yes. Take a
And turn
look,
up the
see.
dial on the enforcement.
Okay.
All right.
Anything
That
else?
looks nice.
Is that good? I'm
It's
glad.
17 actually, right? 17?
What?
17, Jerome.
Is it 17 or
Is it
19?
17, not 19,
17?
17, Jerome.
I think when you get there, you'll see.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
Okay.
Of course,
Yeah.
I thought it was probably 10 years out of date, so.
No, let me
It's the green
let
one.
me see which one.
It's a green one.
I
You
can't
miss it.
remember because the other thing is the two families on the way to GIS
Oh, it
is
is.
done.
It is 19.
It's kind of, it is
It
19.
is. It's listed as 19,
Okay.
but you can't miss it. It's
Okay.
green. Pea
Do
green.
you have anything else under announcements?
I just have a quick announcement. The health department has been working on dwellings in which water has been shut off due to non-payment with the town. Okay? And our approach has,
Okay.
has been reaching out to the owners and letting them know that pursuant to the housing code, you know, measures can be taken. We can enact enforcement processes where an owner does not supply potable water. That does constitute a condition with the dangers, health and safety.
Now,
And that from correctional standpoint, it's identified in the housing code that, and we can issue correction orders. We've been making efforts of reaching out to these landlords and saying, here's the consequences of this action, the turning off the water. It can lead to condemnation too.
How are we protecting our citizens that are renters and you know, 2-family, 3-family?
Well,
how are we protecting them?
we are.
That's our obligation. number
It
one,
is too,
obviously.
and at times that taking these measures, how direct or severe they can be, you know, we are actually looking out there for their health and safety, because without water,
Exactly, yeah.
and I do
their health is in
know
jeopardy. So,
for the public, the majority of this round of shutoffs was because the town has caught up, and there was a lot of change of personnel. The town has caught up because the state repealed the COVID exemption.
yes,
And they repealed that quite a while ago. What am I talking? We're talking years.
years.
With the turnover of people in town, they're just getting to this.
Yeah,
I was told on a positive note that over 90% of the people, when they got the information that you no longer comply to this, you gotta pay. Over 90% of the people rush to the town hall and pay.
yes, there has been a lot of reactivity.
So there is going to be another round of this in October, and then they're done doing this for the winter. My thing with this, and I used to own a 2-family, how long do we have? I know it's more difficult and it's a court action for a single-family house. But the health and sanitary code, when you don't have running water, you own a multifamily house, you're supposed to have insurance and you're supposed to put your people up until you pay, and this is a simple thing, pay your bill.
Pay your bill.
Okay, this is a service. Can we force these people out, put them in a hotel, or I should say, notify the landlords you've got X amount of days, and I don't even want to put days on people, they should have water tomorrow. Okay? This is not because every pipe in the house froze.
No, right.
But get them out of the house, because the house should be condemned for habitability points.
True.
And if you're not gonna put them up in a hotel, then I think this town should stand up and take care of its citizens and then put it and attach it to the property as a lien.
That can be done.
Because
It can be done.
they've got a 30-day notice in writing that their water's gonna be shut off. And then they have, I think, a 2-day notice that a knocker is put on their door saying, the day after tomorrow, your water's shut off. And if they're still ignoring it, time to be nice has expired. And these landlords, and I'm sure these landlords don't live in the house, which irks me as well. They're not protecting their people, but I guarantee you they're gonna be getting their rent the first of the month.
Probably.
Yes, I agree with everything you said. Now,
How many cases are there actually of situations where apartment dwellers are losing their water because of the landlords? And how many of them are actually houses that have been
There is one house,
in back taxes and so forth for a long time?
most of this is because of the repeal that the town is just getting caught up with COVID. But there is one house on Henry Street that got shut off. The landlord didn't care. They didn't pay their bill. They got their notice. One of the tenants went to court and got an injunction to turn their water back on.
You have to, yeah. You shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't have to do that if people were honest landlords,
I agree.
because they're still kept getting their rent.
Yeah.
Because they know the minute they give you an eviction notice, you don't have to pay rent anymore.
So I spoke to that landlord myself. He's looking to sell the house.
Not our problem.
He lost his job and he's not getting rent. So he's looking to get rid of that house like yesterday.
But still,
I understand, but he's looking for help.
and it constitutes, again, to reiterate, a severe violation of the
code, and it's putting
in other words,
people's
condemnation.
health and
comes
safety in
happening.
jeopardy.
So luckily, with that said, the reactions have been good from landlords, because we do emphasize that with our discussions with them. That aside from paying your bill and doing the right thing, here are the consequences. And they're gonna be quick and drastic.
They have to be.
And then, well, we've seen in a day or two, the bill is paid. Okay? Along the lines of the list, I'll get updates through the collectors and treasurers. People come in, knowing that a day or two into this, there's no more running water. And by the provisions of the housing code, we look at that 24-hour rule. Potable, lack of supply of potable water for 24 hours, give or take. And there's always different circumstances, not just being shut off, but plumbing connection. Something always happens. And we're always willing to work with landlords if they are being reactionary and taking steps
If it goes both ways.
If it goes both ways,
Because they also don't have hot water, because they don't have water.
You know what I want?
Look at the season, if they got a steam furnace, you don't have heat. Because you can't fill the boiler. So this is a compounded thing, and unfortunately, I'm sure many people have seen it in the past. I've seen it in the past with landlords through my past job in here. They live in Wellesley, but their people are living in squalor.
Yeah,
And it's about time we kick their butts all the way back to Wellesley.
I agree.
Because if they want to sell it. Please, come condemn my house.
He's trying to.
He owns a house, he's gotta have insurance, right? His insurance,
I hope so.
because of a problem, I had to have 1 month in my insurance when I owned my two-family, should there be something happen to the house that would pay for their hotel for 1 month. But to leave his people hang in the room, I know it's not easy, but this doesn't happen overnight.
Nope, that's true.
We dealt with a guy for a long time in this town, before you got on.
I get it.
And he had a lot of excuses, and it didn't come overnight, and what he was putting these people through was worse than jail cells. And he was collecting hefty money. Okay. Anything else on Dan? Any projected flu clinics or anything coming up, do you know?
We have.
I know that hasn't been a prevalent thing yet.
We've reached out to the mobile vaccination clinic for a request to come to town,
Okay.
okay?
I know we did some in the past at the
Yep,
senior
yep.
center. We also went, in the past, CVS used to help us.
That
We
is another
also-
option.
We went to, I think we had a clinic at the high rise at one point in time. And I think we even did one at TAG.
We can, the thing with the, I'll just point out with CVS, what I saw last year was a dismal turnout. They're very slow. With the mobile vaccination clinic, Patty Boo will be working. They've reached back out to us and say, yeah, we can do this. One of the contingencies is that we have at least pre-register 25 people. And I don't think with CVS we even got that at a cost of $800-900. Richard would know, but
It was a disappointment.
it was a disappointment,
And the only reason I'm saying that is to caveat off my report on the PHEP meeting.
Yep.
And of course, you're well aware, on Web EOC, we have to update our dispensing, if you haven't done it.
Yes,
The
yes,
dispensing
yes,
center and
yes,
everything.
I remember.
But we're supposed to have 3 drills. And one of the things, if we had we can have a call down drill. But if we had a food clinic, that could count.
Yeah, and with the mobile unit, we'll also integrate just not influenza, but COVID-19.
Right.
So,
And that'll count as one of our drills.
which is good.
For
Another
DPH.
one here, share with you, Chair, I reached out. You may know Cataldo.
The Caldo ambulance, that's up.
Oh, yeah.
North
They
Shore.
offer this service through NBPH. We can,
Yeah.
it's something worthwhile researching.
I mean, one of the things I understand, and I agree with you, that we have to see if there's an interest out there. But COVID's up again, and what's the difference? Is it flu or is it COVID?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. But the whole goal is that it doesn't fester into one or in the other. And then we don't know what the school department's doing, which might be something if
Tag team on that, maybe.
tag team on them, on what they might be doing with
Yeah.
the school-age kids.
I did reach out to Lillian today and asked her if we could do
Which one?
mid-December. That's the girl from the mobile
Okay.
place. Mid-December. So I'm
Whatever's
just waiting
gonna-
for her to get back to me.
And that'll give time to publicize it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
okay,
All right, you good?
I'm good. Thank you.
I have the one biting at the bit, waiting to,
Let's go.
solid waste and
It's
recyclable.
been a long day, I'll be quick.
Tell me about it. And I'm older than you.
So, we have Household Hazardous Waste Day scheduled for October 5th from 9 to 1. That's gonna be over at the DPW, 185 Gulf Woods Road.
Anybody who wishes to help,
Volunteers
plan-
are always welcome.
yep, we plan on an hour before to head over there and set up. Which should be minimal, we have contracted people.
That's 8 o'clock.
I was doing that in stride.
So with that being said, Roland and I attended a hazardous waste training to be in preparation for the household hazardous waste event that we're having. Some of the items that are gonna be collected are chemicals, propane tanks, light bulbs, fire extinguishers, any and all electronics, computer monitors, batteries, what else? Tires with or without rims is a big one. What we're not accepting, mattresses, box springs, air conditioners, refrigerators, freezers, and latex paint.
That has been one of the biggest stumbling blocks that we heard in our training, is when people show up with latex paint. Do you turn them away and then have them dump it illegally?
Right.
Because when you take, and we learned a lot that, the example of batteries, it's incumbent upon us and what we learned in the class, that if batteries can go into a recycling program with the vendor versus the 55-gallon drum that's called hazardous waste going to an incinerator, is probably 1/3 of the cost, and it's going to recycling.
That's right.
So it's very critical, if you talk to anybody and anybody listening, if you have latex paint, open the cover, throw the cover away, let it air dry and put speedy dry in it, clean the sand off your driveway in it, put sand in it to solidify it.
Right.
And once it's solidified and no longer liquid, it is now regular waste.
I would suggest give it to the art center. Let them use it.
There's always, you have to be, don't even say that because you don't want 57 people, we're talking. But my parents had paints and they did a lot of crafts and they had small quartz. And we ended up, there's people that will take them. The senior center took them.
Exactly.
But latex is not hazardous waste.
Correct. So this event is only for Southbridge residents. There is the cost for the tires, with or without the rims, is $5. Electronics, including televisions and console TVs, the cost will be by weight. So not an individual fee, but by weight as a whole. So they can bring all the electronics they want for one price, depending on what the weight is.
We have something to weigh.
We don't do that. The company that is contracted
They'll do it.
will monitor that and we will monitor that they monitor correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think doing that
Cash.
laptop is $10.
Yep. Cash or
Up
check?
to a, sorry. Yep, cash or check, no
Cash or
credit.
check, yes. Curbside items. So there has been a lot of input recently from property owners and tenants on social media. Everyone knows the town hired 3 part-time curbside monitors, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Here I have 5 cameras, and I would like to clarify 3 cameras. And I would like to clarify a couple
You
of
asked if
things.
chickens had teeth, so.
I would like to clarify a couple of things that has been on social media that worries me because the public needs to know the truth. I have 3 cameras here. Can you pick one?
I'll take the red one.
Red is good.
Because you were fine.
Let me just
Okay.
plug this in quickly.
Still the same job.
This is gonna be a show and tell.
Are we getting tested out?
You were not.
Give me now.
You were not. So, random.
And as she pulls this up, the inspectors go down public ways. If they see anything to do with curbside or blight that's in public view, it is not illegal to take a picture.
Right.
They do not enter properties. They do not go on properties. They
And
do
that
not
is-
go behind
And
properties.
that is my point with the photographs. Now, these photographs have been taken since, I want to say May. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. But I'm going to randomly go through these photos quickly. You can sit over there if you want. You can sit over
The other people are gonna come over and watch.
We're gonna start with this one, obviously couch. And like I said, quickly because we don't have a whole lot of time.
Some of them will make
Now,
you throw up.
these photos aren't taken from personal property, on personal property, over a fence, in somebody's window. They're either standing out on the curb or inside the truck.
Yeah, wow.
You cannot see one person in any of our pictures.
Right, wow.
We do not take photographs of children, and we do not take photographs, again, on personal property.
Right. Wow.
So, there is a lot out there.
Just a little.
So, you can't always believe everything you read on social media.
There's a
Not
lot out
everything is
there,
perfect.
but
This
without,
per-
with looking at all the occupancies in this town, it's getting better. I think.
It's
It's
just
a-
endless.
A lot of it is repeat offenders.
Oh, I'm sure.
And repetitive talk.
Right.
And it doesn't help the fact that some people just drive by and throw stuff out on the side of the road.
Well, that's what
Obviously.
the other cameras are for now.
So, that's what I wanted the board to see. Any questions?
Unfortunately, it's not as. Wish it was, but it's.
Well, and the other, that would have made me laugh.
Okay, the Schnees are eyeballs.
And the other,
Do you want me to read it to you? Like a bedtime story?
I got it.
go ahead, I'll
I got it.
just review this with them quickly after you're done.
Violation, well, you can see violations there. Contract issues update, yes. So at the last Board of Health meeting we had, off the record, we talked about the contract and about liquidated damages. I am happy to report that Casella, yes, agreed on those liquidated damages.
Okay.
That was, what, $6,000?
Yep,
And we have more in the list.
yep.
I got a question. The Casella trucks that have the town seal on it,
Yeah.
they're strictly Southbridge only, that's it? They don't go to any other town, or?
So funny story today, I was told, and I was told today that those seals that they have are magnetic.
I'm sure they are.
Because I worked on
But
West
some
Dudley
of
Road
them
today, and they were
don't
picking up there with
appear,
the seal on
right,
it on West
some of
Dudley
them
Road.
don't appear to be magnetic, some of them appear to be, yeah,
Don't
On
go
the
by
trucks.
the seal.
Yeah.
They are supposed to register their trucks with us by the ID number.
correct.
Exactly.
Okay?
By the truck
The
number.
truck
Right.
number, and it's on 4 sides.
Right.
Because I was just confused, I saw the seal and it was on West Dudley Road in Dudley picking up. I don't-
And there's some registered trucks that the seal has not been put on yet.
Yep. Or
Go by the
registered.
number, okay? Because those are registered to us.
Okay.
And Eagle Eye over here with her worker bees, because, and everybody else, and I have helped, they're here to make money, we're here to make sure that they follow the rules.
Right. Absolutely.
And we have caught them red-handed. And it's not gonna end, because it's like any other business.
Yeah, for sure.
So if anybody says anything, the key is that if you saw that truck on West Dudley Road with that number, give her a call. Hey, I just saw truck 1225 picking up in Dudley. She gets the way bills. So if all of a sudden you saw the truck at 2 o'clock and she gets the report on the ways that they dumped and it's on our bill at 4:30 by that truck, flag goes up.
Right.
And they've been caught on that before, okay? It's for the ratepayers.
Yep.
Can you send us all the list of the truck numbers,
Yes,
please?
That we have at this
the
present time.
current list.
And
Correct.
what happens if we see a truck that's not supposed to be in town picking up in town?
How do we know that?
I don't know. If
That's why they want the list.
they're doing
Understand
if
something.
they're doing the route and they
Right.
put the numbers on
Understand
the
something, and the
list.
biggest challenge to this system is if they contracted privately with someone,
Yeah,
how do we know that?
that's part of the problem.
That is a major policing problem.
Right. Well, I'm referring just to
Okay.
Casella. I mean, if they,
That's
No,
when
no,
you'll have
but
the
they
number
can-
she's gonna
yeah,
get.
yeah.
If you have a question, just jot down the number, shoot it to her,
Yeah.
and she'll watch and see if it's on the way slip. Because if they're picking up privately, it should not be on our way
No,
slip.
it shouldn't, absolutely.
It's that simple. And I think that's the only way right now.
Right, okay.
And
Actually,
if
some-
anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the municipal curbside program, the new phone number is 508-764-5354.
That's her direct line. Yep.
Sorry, Gil.
That's fine. Actually, if someone opts out in our trash pickup, don't they have to tell you who's gonna be picking up their trash?
They do.
Yes.
They have to
So
provide
do
a
you have a
contract.
list of who Casella is picking up trash for privately?
That is correct.
Yep.
Maybe we should get that list too and to see if on their trash pickup day, it's gonna be a different day than when we do trash.
Nope.
Can't be the same day.
You would
That's-
think.
That would be.
That's
that would be-
another
That would be fraud.
problem that we're
That's a
facing.
problem
That
I
would be
brought up in the past.
commingling
Commingling
material.
trash.
Yeah, That'd be easy to figure out.
I can
Figure out where they
guarantee
live when
that
they
they'll
pick
try
up
to
and see if the
slide
trash is out that
Oh,
day.
yeah.
That's what
that
trash,
easy.
that's what trash monitors are monitoring,
Right.
Yeah.
among other things. Go up to Rosemead. They're picking up recycling, they don't have recycling dumpsters, they have toters. So if they're gonna pick up somebody else's waste and give it on our way bill, this revolving account is paying for it, and so is the private in the industry, so they're
Double
double
dipping.
dipping. And they're being unfair to both.
That's cool.
So our job is to keep,
So the rest of you.
our job is to keep big business in the straight and narrows. And it's,
Almost impossible, because they're by definition not.
you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Every time we've had a commitment letter that's in the negative,
Yeah.
why do you think it's that way?
Yep.
Because they get caught.
Okay, absolutely. That's why it should be.
So that was for the public too, that
Yep.
it's not being taken lightly and it's being, the contract's being followed.
Good.
Participation in Oktoberfest, are you referring to Autumn Fest?
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. So
Senior moment.
I
I
brought it
don't
to
know if you
Roland's-
heard anymore.
I did not. I brought it to Roland's attention because he's the chair, to see if we as the board, or you as the board, wanted to have a table over at Autumn Fest to provide materials
When
to
is
the,
that?
to the public. September 21st, right around the corner.
I
Next
think
Saturday.
it's too
soon
early.
to print
Yeah,
out.
I think it
I
is.
think it's
too
too
soon.
soon to get
I
things
think
right
we
with everything
waited.
else we have.
All right.
We have to concentrate on that hazardous waste day
Yeah, I agree.
to get that going.
Okay. And that was it. Does anyone have any questions? No?
Can we, maybe, is it
Okay, bye.
feasible to tag team like what you and I discussed, also with the chief?
Which part?
Maybe do some sort of pamphlet or something during voting?
Oh, no, I was gonna bring that up in mind.
All right, we'll wait till then.
But I do wanna do for the public, because to go shoulder to shoulder what she said, because things are on social media. And I put stuff in front of my house because I got a free sign on it. Okay? The blight bylaw. This was September of 2016, signed by San Angelo and Bob Caprera. In just one quick definition of blight, the accumulation outside of interior furniture, garbage, trash, and/or junk, and/or the existence of inoperable, neglected motor vehicles, boats, motorcycles, or other inoperable machinery or other refuse unless licensed to do so.
Okay.
So this was another thing that we worked on this board back when Dave Adams was on it. It is a definition of inoperable motor vehicle in this regulation. And well, the crew is out looking at things. We don't want this town to end up looking like a slum. If you got the bylaw on one hand might say you're allowed 2 unregistered motor vehicles on your property. But if a motor vehicle has 4 flat tires and it's sinking into the pavement, that's inoperable. If the motor vehicle has a tree growing in it, that's inoperable, even if you have 1. That is what, it's funny. Until we had this bylaw and you had 1, there wasn't a single thing the town could do.
Which is ridiculous, but.
Okay.
I get it.
The other thing I want to say, because there was a lot of stuff on social media, I put it out in front of my house with a free sign. This could be good for somebody. I don't disagree. But there was a beautiful, I thought, pretty good looking piece of furniture in our neighborhood. Piece of wooden furniture. Could have been donated. Could have gone on Facebook Marketplace. I know when I liquidated my parents' house, I left nothing outside because if it was good, have a yard sale, sell it, or there's people who will pick it up. It's been outside for going on 3 weeks now. So when you have a piece of wooden furniture that it looked like it was pretty nice, that has been in the morning every day with the dew, and last Saturday we had rain all day, that is now trash. I don't care how you split it, take it in a house, that is a mold festering piece of material now. And it's a shame because it used to be free. You leave a mattress up against your house,
That doesn't seem ridiculous.
in the rain,
Yeah.
that is a sponge for moisture, never mind a fire hazard. When it's moist, it's no longer a fire hazard.
That's a fault hazard.
It's a weight hazard. And now it's gonna cost you more because it gets recycled by weight. But the other issue is when the kids climb on it and play, and it falls on them, they get hurt, because this weighs a ton.
Sure.
Okay, so there's multiple hazards, not only looking terrible. So, nobody's going on property. Nobody's headhunting anybody. The other thing I want to say for the public, if mistakes are always made, if you contracted for someone to pick up your bulk and you put it out on a Monday, and the monitors went by on a Monday, and you hired somebody and they were supposed to be there on Tuesday, and they called you up and told you we can't get there till Thursday, the truck broke down, how are we to know? The first letter that goes out is a warning. It is not an automatic $250 fine. I say again, the letter that goes out is a warning. It's not a $250 fine like it's been portrayed, that the town is a communist country now, okay? We only get a report, and it's not timely from Casella if you contracted with Casella. If you want the town to know that you have hired a contractor to pick up your bulk and you're gonna be putting it out on such and such a day, call or email Maritza and give her an FYI. Because when they take the picture and it's there, that's record keeping. It's at least 2 to 3 days before they go back and look and see if it's still there. And if it's not there, delete. That's how it works.
That's what we want.
And that's how it's always worked.
Right, that's what we
Okay.
want, yeah.
Is that all you got?
I think so.
Did you want me to spank anything else?
No.
Okay. Oktoberfest is done. All right, we have no commitment letters this month, so channel, number 10 doesn't. All right, members forum. I'll go to Gus, Gil first.
I'm good. I've got too much information already today.
Remind me to talk to your son. He's the Eagle Scout.
Me?
Yeah, anything?
Two very brief things.
Yeah,
One
okay,
is
thank
I just
you.
wanted to update the fact that we are doing this. I brought this up in the past. It's the housing update. The town goes through a housing report, then do a housing plan to update what our housing conditions are. We are looking for people's comments. You can go to the website. If you can happen to see it, if you can possibly see it and scan it, you might be able to scan it from the video and jump right to the website. And we're simply looking for some comments. It technically closed, but we're sort of a soft close at this point. We want it to run until basically at least the end of the month. We're already collecting data. It's already been more or less finalized, but we can certainly add stuff to it. And so I just wanted to mention that. And we are in the process of organizing a couple of hearings, workshops on it for October 18th and October 21st. One of them is going to be at the senior center. The other is, I'm going to make some phone calls and see where that's going to end up being, possibly Arlington. We don't know yet though. The other thing I wanted to mention on September 30th, it's not related specifically to the town, but I'm personally organizing an event on the Treaty on the Prevention of Nuclear Weapons, a prohibition of nuclear weapons in the Charlton Bridge.
Okay. You, got anything?
Yeah, Maritza, thank you. I see South Street, another dumpster came in for that property.
It is now gone.
It is gone now, so.
It was filled and
That was
gone.
big. I'm glad I followed up. Also, I like the activity that's been going on with the Vienna.
Yep, that's up.
Yep.
Do we know what the status is on the Sacred Heart compound?
I spoke to Mike. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how much he said. I just spoke to him briefly the other day. And the guy's still trying to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to have somebody come in and basically dismantle the church because the facade and some of the statues and the stained glass, and to get money for stuff that they can recoup.
Uh-huh.
That led me to believe that the church is in dire straits.
Probably.
But they have plans that they wanted to revamp the rectory and the convent for housing. There was presently, I think he said, the groundskeeper is living in the rectory because that was the last one to be occupied, so that was in the best shape.
Mm-hmm.
And there was plans to do residential and a commercial space in the school, which needs some zoning. That's the plan.
Has it gone? I don't think it's gone to planning board.
No, because there has been, it takes money and there's interest, there's gotta be interest, but That's the last that I heard on any progress or lack thereof on that complex.
And the only other thing, are we doing anything, I know they bring it up a lot, it came up tonight by others, are we doing anything about these automobiles that we keep talking about?
Which ones?
All the unregistered, the ones with trees and
Oh,
tires and, are we
You mean
doing
in reference to
anything?
the blight
Yeah.
bylaw? I was losing radios and loud music and
They're included in the correction orders. Like the chair says, it would agree 100%. Deemed it up.
Exactly, okay.
Trees growing out, flat tires, they haven't moved probably in years.
and that the accountability is all through the weekly monitoring. Okay. All right, last thing I have, I attended the emergency preparedness meeting on 9/5. I talked about some of it already with the web ELC and everything else. It was very interesting. There was over 41 participants in communities in this. They did budget reviews, conferences, and things of that nature. It's to expand the workforce and to share issues. They did speak about the translators, Dan, that they said that, I guess we were lucky enough to be in the first phase of distribution, but they made it, and they also did an executive committee, and I'm not on it, thank God. I don't know, but there's a new executive board, and they made the rules that these were designed primarily for shelter uses. They're not for routine uses to other agencies, and they're still under the ownership of them. Okay, so I know there was no intention, by no means. We talked about the web ELC. One of the scary points that I got out of this is that Worcester and one other community has emergency shelters open,
For what?
and they've been open.
For what?
Homeless people,
Oh, okay.
immigrants, okay? It's scary. It's scary. Okay, and the cold weather's coming. And, we've spoken about that this is a concern. And I know the town manager wants to have a homeless task force.
It's a big problem.
It's a big, major problem.
This town, it's a big problem.
And I'll tell you, one of the gentlemen that sleeps on a bench in downtown Southbridge is a vet. And he's the nicest guy you ever want to meet in the world, and he doesn't want any help. And it's a challenge, and it takes specific people to work with the people.
Right.
But as long as they're in town,
There are people.
there are people,
Absolutely.
okay? The other thing I want to, his thing before he hurts me. I spoke to the fire chief. We are making directions on how to sign up for the Everbridge system, which is the town's emergency alert system, or what everybody calls reverse 911.
Yeah.
And I want to let the townspeople know, the company that is hired way back will populate your number if it's in the white pages. If you don't have a number in the white pages, you are not on the list. You have to sign up on the computer. There is a link on the website, and you can sign up for what kind of alert you want, how you want it. If my road is closed because there's an active shooter, I want that to go to my cell phone. But if it's a snow emergency that's going to start at 7 tonight, send it to my email. I don't need my cell phone to ring. You have multiple options. You can even put other people, like your family members, your parents' house, their location on it. Dan and I had spoke, and if we had an issue, like you said, if we're going to spray,
Right.
what better way to get it to the people?
That's good.
If they're going to spray a neighborhood, a circle can be drawn on the Southbridge map on this system, and only those people will get notified. The left side of the street can be notified because they're putting a water line in. That's how specific the system can be.
That's good.
But you have to enroll. So the chief already sent me a preface of what it was. I looked at it. It was a good job. I told him to have it also made in Spanish. And if you need help signing up, the contact is going to be Matt in the town manager's office, not the fire chief.
Okay.
And he will help you sign up on the computer. We will be putting those pamphlets when they're done at town hall, fire station, police station, senior center, library, anywhere we can, okay?
I would have somebody talk to the cable.
Well, we will, okay? We'll put it on the website, and everything like that, because if you need to know the right information in an emergency, that's how you're gonna get notified. And I will tell you, I was with one of my friends that live in Dudley, and he was getting the Dudley reverse information on the routes that the trucks were going and at what time they were spraying. Because he has bees, so he wants to know what time to cover
That
them.
makes sense.
And all that information he was getting on his cell phone.
Yeah. That's
So that's available to our system, but you have to sign up, and it's up to you, and it's no different than signing up for an online banking thing. You create the password, you create everything, and you tell the system how you want to be notified and what you want to be notified for. So those are gonna be going out.
Okay.
Anything else?
So should we incorporate?
And you know what?
Voting?
I'm gonna talk to Katie. I don't think we can interfere with the voting,
Right.
but we can have something put, I'm gonna talk to Katie on having something in the front hallway. You know, like they have everything else.
I think that's a good spot, especially the voting. I
Yes.
think this year.
The goal was to have
is
them
gonna be
done,
Pretty good, hopefully.
the goal was to have them done by voting. But if they're done by October 5th, we're gonna have some on the table at the hazardous waste.
Right,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
And, you know, it's any way that we can get it out.
And I'll put it on the LED sign.
Yeah. Okay, so that is in the works. And I can't find it, where's the frickin' agenda?
Can I ask one quick question?
Next meeting date would
Mr.
be,
Chairman? Can I
Yes.
ask one quick question? Is there an update on the water line over the airport?
No,
Nothing yet?
no. That has been forwarded to channels where it needs to go. Okay? What I can say on that is that we have received, we also had another meeting. Effective August 15th, the permit is now in from DEP that this is a closed landfill.
Okay.
So there is different parameters that Casella is responsible, pre-closure to closure.
Right.
There was, 25 testing points, now it's 90 testing points.
90,
And right now, this goes on for 30 years, starting this date, but there is something in the works with the legislature to go to 45 on not just Southbridge, but everything on monitoring. Okay, so that's in that. There is, and if you heard anything, because it festered over here the other day, there was an order put in to have the scale house re-energized with electricity. So everybody's head blew up when they heard that. What are they doing with the scale house? It's the building. There is one gentleman that's up there 5 days a week, now that it's closed, and his job is to monitor it. So he will be using the old scale house building itself as his office. And they still have the maintenance area that is still operating, which is where the leachate gets pumped, the torch is still working, and things of that nature.
Okay. How about well testing that we ordered?
That's all, that's that 90 points of monitoring.
No, I meant the household well testing that we talked about last time, that we approved.
That was brought up the flagpole.
Okay. Have we heard anything about getting funded yet? Because as far as I
No.
know, it hasn't gone to council yet.
No, it has not.
We need to get that done soon.
That,
That's waiting, right?
that's another issue.
Mr. Chair, next meeting date, Thursday, October 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. Veterans Road.
We good with that?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Whoa.
All in favor?
8:48.